second lead over Mathieu Giminet in the Mante Racing Porsche.
They were quite lucky actually on that, Garth, weren't they? Because it was a mistake, and you know, Maro admitted to that when he came in here. But they only dropped down to 5th, and they didn't lose the lead lap because it was under a safety car. And so they were able to use that as a springboard and start again. At that point, V1 of the strategy gets ripped up and thrown in the bin or crumpled up, and a 3-pointer from the back of the garage. And then they've worked their way back, and they've been very canny to work through the fuel save and got that car, Crailsey, right back into it in terms of picking off a few places where they could by, again, staying less time in the pit lane as the WRT team are getting set up.
We're hearing it could be car 46 in pit lane, and it's Augusto Farfus behind the wheel, speedy Brazilian driver. So Maxime Martin will jump back behind the wheel of this car. They're still on the lead lap. They're in 5th position. They're 1 minute and 8 seconds behind the lead. Augusto's been in for 27 laps. It's been a really solid stint from him. So we heard from Valentino Rossi, a really strong double stint early on. Average low 205s and was near as makes no difference as quick as all of the pros that were around him throughout much of his stint. And he's left it up to the 2 full-time professional sports car racers to do the bulk of the heavy lifting on the run home. They love to attack the in-lap, don't they?
Yeah.
It is important.
In the lane. And Lucas Stoltz was so close behind that he's actually already overtaken him. So that had been a good, very good battle as the number 46 WRT. This is the white BMW with the M Sport stripes, comes onto pit lane.
In very early, gentlemen, as you might notice. Well, not very early, but still earlier than it should have been. Augusto Farfus is getting out. Maxime Martin is getting in while the refueling goes on. But you might notice there are those dreaded dolly skates to take the car back into the garage. The scrutineers have deemed that the rear taillights are not working, and so the car must be repaired out on the track before it can go back out on the track, if you see what I mean there. So the rear taillights are covered by the suit, in effect, which has come out of the back of the car. And now Maxime Martin being told to wait patiently. They put the car up on the air jacks. They're going to roll it back into the garage, clean it off, reconnect a plug, and then it'll go back out on the track to finish this race. But this takes them out of a podium finish, of which they were firmly in contention.
That's the Garth Tander spray that he's been talking about all day long, and it's gone a step too far. It's a fair rule. You do need to have working tail lights and brake lights visible at all times. So technical officials have deemed that needs to be repaired, and to do that, as we've seen with Triple Eight, you need to do that in the garage.
They are the last car on the lead lap, and Nicky Katzberg will just go through and take the position. And the number 77, it's the AMG, another AMG.
A fair fleet of them here this weekend, isn't there? Plenty of AMGs, and they're all running towards the front of the field.
This battle's for position. Dries Vanthoor and Lucas Stoltz. I don't think Dries needs to be too concerned about the AMG behind, because he's only 5 or 6 laps away from the stop. Well, that's a quick fix. 46 back into the lane. Everyone cleared, fires up, and away they go.
Blinking red tail light in the middle is their rain light, which I think also comes on when they're on the pit lane limiter, doesn't it? I noticed that earlier on.
So, as Richard mentioned earlier, this for position, but Stoltz has plenty of speed over Dries Vanthoor at this phase of the stint. So, the 75 Sun Energy AMG, as we said, for the last 4 or 5 hours, running off strategy to the leader, Raffaello Marciello, in the Grupper M AMG. And as the race has progressed and the temperatures have risen, the BMWs have just slipped off the pace. They were right there in the early phase, and they were looking very strong by their own admission. The car has lost performance in the heat of the day. First time that car has been to Mount Panorama though, so very much gather a huge amount of information for their next assault on the mountain. BMW's had a huge amount of success here at Bathurst. They're very proud of that, and they'll want to continue that in the GT3 era.
I still think this is a fascinating strategic battle at the front of the field. And I'm not sure if even the teams involved, Garth, know whether they've got it right yet. In some respects, the top three have played what you might say standard strategy on this. They've stopped at the times that they've needed to stop if they've been green, or they've taken the opportunity under the AMG safety car to come in. The first car that's off that, we've been talking about it a lot, the Sun Energy one, number 75. They went to a different strategy to give themselves a little more flexibility in the back end of the race when they put Kenny Habbold back in all those hours ago to do a little more time at the back end of a safety car lap at the safety car period, when they knew it was going to be quite a long and complicated clean-up. They've been down the pit lane at least 2 or 3 times more than anybody around them, but that hasn't seemed to be a massive disadvantage. They've given themselves something different. They've given themselves an opportunity to fight back, and now Lucas Stoltz has got pace. He's got right in front of him the third place Dries Vanthoor, and this is a battle on pace now, not strategy. So they've had both in spades today.
Well, it's 11 stops for the 75 car versus 7 for the car in front of it, the BMW. So they certainly have got their money's worth coming down pit lane today so far. I still feel like there's too many sliding doors to go, too many moving parts in the rest of this race, the remaining 2.5 hours, before we can be definitive about which strategy is going to be the winning strategy, whether the line and length, the pass strategy, if you like, the first 3 cars are running, or the off strategy that Lucas Stoltz and the Craft Bamboo AMG of Nicky Katzberg are running as well.
I still think, to follow on my wonky test match analogy early on, I still think there'll be a moment where it's the final overs and all the batsmen are up around all the fielders are up around the batsmen trying to block it out.
At least we won't have to get the light meters out this year.
No, exactly right. So I think there's still some marginal stuff to come from cars that are going to be really close to doing it. 75 is one of them.
I hope after such a great race, and such a great tactical race, and such a quick race, that this is decided by a bit of brilliance rather than a mistake. It could be either. People are going to get tired, drivers are going to be tired. Garth talked about this right at the beginning, and we have to mention this again. The track is actually getting narrower. It isn't, of course, in reality. The white lines don't move, but the bit that you can use at certain parts of the track here now, Garth, is probably 1.5 cars wide.
Yeah, the marbles offline, turn 2, where we are exiting right now, is a classic example for that. You can't run side by side through the majority of the circuit. So if you're going to make a move, it needs to be definitive. You need to get it in and get it stuck and get the job done. And if you're on the outside, you need to make a decision. Do you hang in and go for glory, or do you succeed or cede your position and fall in behind and maybe try and fight back in another position of the circuit? So there's those sorts of things, and it's a great way to explain it. The racetrack does get narrower, so your opportunities become less as a passing opportunity, but also it's easier to make a mistake, and that's what happens late in these races. We see it in the 1000, and we see it here in the 12-hour. Mistakes happen in the last phase of the race because the playing surface becomes trickier.
Yeah, and smaller mistakes have bigger consequences. You know, if you'd been half a car's width offline and missed an apex in the first hour of the race, you probably wouldn't have even noticed it. At this stage of the race, that could put you in the face.
Yes, that's correct. We saw graphically with Shane Van Gisbergen earlier, when he got offline and picked up marbles and junk on his tyres, it took laps to recover after that. So if you survive going offline and don't end up in the wall or in the gravel trap, you lose speed, and it takes laps to recover that. So there's still plenty of 2.5 hours to go. There's still plenty to play out here.
2.5 hours is the maximum continuous driving time. So if you've got a driver who's had his hours rest, you are now in the window, Krillsy. You don't have, I mean, you won't want to mess up what you're doing now, but you are now into that window if your final driver has had his rest and he's ready to go.
And that will be a deep breath moment for Sun Energy 1, because that's what they need to worry about for Lucas Stoles and then Shulgunon at the end of the race. But they've still got a little bit more to go before they can get Jules in the car with the 2 hours and 24 minutes he's got left.
Correct.
To complete the race. So it's not far away. I wanted to touch on this car. It's the Mark Cars Australia entry. Jeff Taunton took over this enterprise that was set up by Ryan McLeod. These cars made their debut here at Mount Panorama in 2015, and they've become a staple of this place, running in the invitational class. This is the first year in 4 that we've seen the Mark 1, the first generation cars run. They're built to be endurance specialist race cars, and this team have been through the ringer. We need to send a shout out first and foremost to Keith Kasuki, who is doing well, we're told, and feeling a lot better after a big crash earlier in the weekend down at the Chase. They had, I believe, a braking issue going up the hill, and it had quite a heavy impact just in front of the ridges there. So unfortunately that Mark II entry never made the start of the race, but Keith is okay and the car safety systems did its job. This second car have been working hard for charity, and right now they're on course for a good result in the invitational class. In fact, they'll win it by being the only ones to get to the line if they do indeed get there. It's Grant Donaldson behind the wheel, Darren Curry and Jeff Taunton himself have been working hard. They're about to be mobbed by BMW across the top. But if you have a look at the roof of that car, there's Valentino Rossi's excited face and the Doctor logo. And at the conclusion of the race, and there's still a couple of hours to jump online and bid for this, it's been signed by all the drivers in the field, including Valentino Rossi. I'm sure we can get Gartan to sign it for you as well as the running 1,000 champ. It will be auctioned off, so they're going to take the roof off the car and give it to whoever wins the auction as the prize. Jump on to their website. It's linked through the Bathurst 12-hour social channels over the course of the weekend. So jump on there. All the proceeds will go towards the official charity of our event, the Ronald McDonald House Charities. It's a great cause. Pirelli have donated one of Valentino Rossi's race-used tyres from today to go into that as well. Really good cause. Jump online and you literally win a roof of a racing car that raced at Mount Panorama. And I think that's very cool. Well done to the Mark Cars Australia team. They're raising the roof on charitable donations at Mount Panorama. Group M Racing lead the race. Last couple of rounds of pit stops yet to come on the mountain.
We were musing, by the way, why Valentino Rossi was called the Doctor, and I just accepted that and never thought about it. There's a couple of different, you look it up, there's a couple of different explanations to that. One, that he earned a degree back in Italy and therefore has the right to call himself a doctor, which is fine. I quite like that. The other is that he adopted the nickname himself because it's the Doctor, because I don't think there's a particular reason, but it's beautiful and it's important. And in Italy, the Doctor is a name you give to someone for respect. It's very important. However, Rossi's often said that the name arrived at, the Doctor nickname that he arrived at, was because Rossi is a common surname for doctors. So, take your pick.
All of those have potential, knowing the character that Valentino Rossi is.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd ever know the truth, to be honest. And even if you did know the truth, you'd make up another story just to throw you off it.
Here is the number 32 WRT BMW with 2 hours and 24 minutes on the clock, and things beginning to pick up intensity down in the pit lane. Driver changes will be going on. Crailsey has been tracking this very carefully.
Just slowly moving towards the edge of his seat, Richard Crail.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we get closer to the end of this one, he's slowly moving towards the edge of his seat. He'll be standing for the last hour, will our Richard Crail. 24 AMG Mercedes, Jordan Love. the wheel at the moment in the lane. Currently 11th as the 4th placed BMW M4 Dries Van Thor heads back out.
It's Van Thor that brought it in.
Yeah, curious just to know who's going back out.
I saw Dries getting out of the car, but I have to say I couldn't quite see who got into it. So we'll find that when it goes out of the pit lane. And 32 is Sheldon van der Linde now behind the wheel of that car. Now, if he's got the time left in the bank, he can go from here in terms of continuous driving time, Grills. There is another consideration that no driver can do more than 3 hours 40 minutes as in comes in total throughout the race.
340 minutes.
It's 340 minutes, sorry. 340.
Which is 5.5 hours.
5.5 hours. Okay,
yeah, that
should be all right with that.
Yeah, they'll never get close to that. Murrow Engels done 440 minutes from this point. So, yeah, I think they're pretty good with that. And you're right, with the amount of time they've got to go, they can get there. Speaking of getting there, you better get to Newcastle. It's not that far away. The opening round of the Supercars Championship here in New South Wales.
Supercars will hit the streets of Newcastle next month in a much anticipated return to the Supercars calendar. If past events are anything to go by, you won't want to miss this.
They've hit on the way up the hill. Reggie's out of business. He's on the road.
Tickets are on sale at ticketek.com.au and all the action is live right here.
Yeah, new starts now. The new era for Supercars starts on the streets of Newcastle. You can get your tickets at Ticketek March 10 to 12. It's not that long away. As all of the Supercar teams know, they're flat out getting ready for this. An exciting new era. Can anyone beat that man on the right is the big question mark. Find out. It all starts in 5 weeks' time. Cannot wait to get there. Let's go back down to the lane. Here's Shay Adam.
It's a very rare opportunity when you get the opportunity to talk to the driver right before he gets in for this final stint. Jewel, just a quick word. How are you feeling before you begin your final stint where you could win your 3rd consecutive Bathurst 12-hour?
Yeah, I feel good. It's definitely very hot today. Already with Luca we drove quite a bit, so now it's going to be the last 2 hours, but when you train during the winter, it's for those moments. So I feel really good and really hungry for going full attack.
Good luck.
Thank you.
The intensity is real, guys.
Oh, is it ever? Thanks to George, who's tweeted in from Italy, hashtag B12HR. In Italy, someone who knows his job really well is called a doctor of his craft. And that, he says,
that
is the
sounds
reason.
fair.
I like that, George.
That sounds fair.
Love it.
Okay, guys, we're not too far away from the next round of pit stops starting here, and that does include the leader at the race at the moment, Raffaele Marciello. So let's try and break down exactly who the contenders are as we approach the end of the motor race. Now, we've pretty much worked out that there's either 2 stops for some of the drivers left or 1 stop for some of those drivers left, and we know roughly who we can expect to see in the car at the end. So guys, let's work through the top 5 in the field and we'll talk together here and see if we can sort of come up with a bit of a guess as to who's going to finish the car. We'll start with the 75. Boys in the booth, we know that Kenny has pretty much done his work early. We know that Luca is in the middle of a stint right now and he's pretty much good to hand that over as we speak because we are past the 2-hour 24 to go mark. So guys, I'm sure we all agree, Jules Gounon is going to be the boy in that car to finish that race.
Super.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, well, let's go across and see how that's shaping at the moment. So they're about getting to about lap 308. So they'll have the better part of 8 to 9 laps of a short splash and go to do at the end of the race at this stage. This is an interesting one. Mario Engels used up all his driver time. Grenier's got a single stint left. Marciello's in the car right now. He's about, he'd have to be imminent, a lap or 2 at most from pitting, and he's going to get out of that car. The interesting thing about this strategy, guys, a single for Grenier, and then Rafa is going to have just a single stint at the end of the race. Now, that's good news in terms of keeping him fresh, but it's going to be a very, as we get Stoltz in pit lane right now, actually, a very rapid pit stop to get that driver change done at the end of the race. We'll quickly move on through. We know that we're expecting Matt Campbell at the end of the race. Preining's done his lap, so Jaminet is out there Is he back in that car, guys, with Chaminade, or did we see him get out of the car? No, Matty
no,
Campbell's
he's
out
out.
there. Yeah,
Matty Campbell's
out.
in.
So Campbell in.
Yeah, so Campbell's doing a double. So see what I mean? We're going to have Marciello with a single up against Campbell with a double at the end of this race. So at least in terms of fatigue and keeping a driver fresh, you'd have to score that advantage to the 999, yeah?
Yeah, totally. So the Porsche's got one stop to go, don't they?
Porsche's got one to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't get home on here. They're probably going to come in around lap 280-ish. They can make it on one stop though. I think they're in about lap 290 off the top of my head. Van Gisbergen, Feeney and Gertz, it's not really worked out for them since they got that penalty. It's been a very strange day for Shane Van Gisbergen. I think he's done for the day. Nearly did 3.5 hours. He can do 4 hours, or 5 hours. What is it? 5 hours 40.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's just, I don't know what's going on with SVG this weekend, but it's been a strange one, put it that way. We do know that Brock Feeney's going to finish in that car. Maxi Gertz is out there at the moment, and he's actually in the lane right now by the looks of that. So they'll be handing the 888 over to Feeney, and that'll be a double for Feeney at the end. So that's going to test him. He did a double earlier in the day. This is an interesting one, guys. I'll be honest, I haven't been keeping too much of an eye on the 77. It's been flying under the radar. We've got Nicky Katzberg in there at the moment, but would you say that's the gun that they're going to plug in at the end?
Juncadella.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. We'll see where they pop out.
They're a lap back, Chad. I think they're out of the mix, unfortunately.
As are these guys now as well. But I just wanted to give them a special shout out because I know a lot of people will be wanting to know where does Rossi stand. They were on for a podium until they had that brake light issue. But we've still got Augusto Farfus to try and get that car back up, and we'll see how we go if they get some waiver rounds and things work out their way with multiple safety cars. And the other guy that's doing a really good job right now, we know that Van der Linde is in that car and Sheldon is expected to double stint. So long story short, the guys who are currently first and second in the race have this many stops left. The guys below them have that many stops left. Those with 2 stops are going to have a very short stop for that last stop. And for the Porsche, it's going to be slightly longer.
Well, here is the 999 in the lane right now. So that will affect exactly the strategy that Chad was talking about. So Raffaele Marciello, in on lap number 258. It's taken him 26 seconds from pit in to get to his pit. The fuel hose goes on the left-hand side as of the rear of the car. And
No driver change, guys.
zero driver.
No driver change. So we were expecting here that Grenier would jump into a 60-minute stint to fulfill the requirement that Marciello had to be out of the car for 60 minutes as a minimum and then get back in and finish it.
Yeah.
But that has to happen by doing a driver change right here, right now. So
Well, unless they're content at Grenier's ability to finish the race. That might be it.
that could be it.
Yeah.
It's a big roll of the dice for someone who's never been here before. Still going on hydrating.
He's just waiting for his opportunity to shine, isn't he?
So they're still... I can't see this strategy for Sun 75 working. I think, like Chad said, they're going to have that splash, and I don't know if they'll have the track position enough to make it without losing the lead.
So fuel and tyres for Marciello, but no driver change. He's back on his way.
Fuel and tyres. They took tyres as well, didn't they?
For 1:21 in the lane, so
Right.
They want to have for that.
should have taken tyres and fuel for that pit lane time.
We'll get the team down in the lane to chase that one, because it's probably a reasonable, important story as to why they didn't change drivers, given that's exactly what we thought. And the PR that we've been talking about from the team themselves, unless they've been leading us up the
Well,
garden
they started
path,
yesterday with that.
Lalo-
Maro Engel told us that
Yeah.
it was highly likely that Raffaele Marciello would be finishing this race.
So 21 laps into this stint for Lucas Stoles. We know Jules Gounon will finish this, and he will be fine to get to the end on driver time. That won't be a drama. 9 hours and 45 minutes in. This is all starting to become a little bit clearer now as to who can get there. Certainly, well, it's clear on fuel for the 999. Not so much on driver. It's
Rossi,
clear on
yeah.
912. They're good to go to the end now. One more pit stop for the Porsche, they're home. No problem. So they're the first one that we've got a really clear example of. And then there's one more pit stop for the 32 BMW that currently sits in 4th place on the road. Sheldon van der Linde is in. He's already been in the car for a stint, so I wonder if Dries Vanthoor goes on it. Did he just jump in that car?
Yes, Van der Linde did at the
So
last
Van der
pit
Linde
stop.
will double stint to the end
Yes,
of the race
correct,
as well.
that's correct.
So the 912 Porsche's good to go. One more pit stop, fill it up with juice, throw some new Pirellis at it, full send. So too for the 32 BMW.
Well, do Porsche throw some new Pirellis at it? They just took tyres at that previous stop. So do you get yourself a bit of track position in the last pit stop?
10 seconds
Matt
worth of
Campbell
tyre
told us, you put me in front of those Mercedes and they will not find a way past me. That could be the way to do it.
Yeah.
Chad made the point earlier that I don't know that we've seen everything that this Porsche has to offer.
I'd buy that.
With pace, fuel economy, tyre life and everything. And we have heard from Matt Campbell through the day saying we're sticking to our plan. We're driving exactly how we want to drive the car right now.
Correct.
So I just wonder, and you need some serious restraint to do it, to hold back for 10 hours of racing.
Yep.
Keep holding back, keep holding back. Do not show your hand and lay it on the line at the end.
What is it that you said right at the beginning when we were assessing the cars, Garth? You said, you know, BMW's fast in a straight line, Audi's good across the top, the Mercs have got a serious amount of grunt, but the Porsches just do everything well.
I think at Bathurst, in this current specification, they're the best all-round car.
You said that right. You said that 11 and a half hours ago.
I just feel like that's the best all-round package for this circuit. All the other cars have genuine strengths and weaknesses at various points on this circuit, whereas the Porsche is probably 80% of everything.
Yeah.
Whereas the Audi's 100% across the top, but struggles with torque off the corner. The Mercedes, great torque off the corner, but maybe not the top speed or not quite the ultimate performance across the top. I just feel like the Porsche, for the last couple of years, has been the most rounded car here at Mount Panorama. Throw the keys to Matt Campbell in the last 2 hours of the race. Tell him, dangle a carrot in front of him, say there's another Bathurst 12-hour trophy just up the road, go get it, son.
Yeah.
It's also a car that Manthey and the drivers know very, very well indeed. It's coming to the end of its development. The car's being superseded. The new model's already out. They want to send the 991.2 GT3R with another big international victory. The 991 body shape has done such good work for Porsche in Carrera Cup, in GTE at Le Mans, and in the World Endurance Championship in IMSA. One more dash for that car.
There's a little bit more energy about this car at the moment as well, just in the way it's starting to move around, and Matt starting to hustle. Tell you what the lap time is. It's a 2:03.4, so that's hustling.
Yeah, second out of Marciello on that lap.
The other point I'll make, of the contenders, I don't think the BMW's got the raw speed in these conditions to go with the Mercedes. I reckon this is the only car that can trouble the 75 and the 999 on raw outright lap speed in this part of the race. If it was 9 o'clock this morning, I would have backed the BMWs in. Yeah. They were really quick. They had the same level of single lap pace as anything around them, but right now, I think the Porsche is the only thing that can hold a candle to 75 and the 999.
Rich, you mentioned that this car's got a very different attitude about it. And we only had to go through one braking zone at the end of Mountain Straight, and it told me straight away they've shelved the fuel saving. It's maximum attack time now. So they've been playing a very smart game. Let's be honest, they're a minute behind the leader of the race, and they're 30 seconds behind the car they're on the same strategy with. But you get that late race safety car, and this car is well in the game.
But they've still got a stop to go where they could make up some time.
That's correct, because they've been so fast in pit lane over the course of the day.
There's 3 laps between them in stops. Porsche could probably go 3 laps longer potentially than Marciello. It could be a case of who blinks first as to whether you put tyres on or not. So if the Porsche pits first and doesn't put tyres on, 999 mirror that and just keep the track position. But if 999 pits, the Porsche could then go, right, we're going to roll the dice and not put tyres on in our final pit stop. There could be an advantage they're looking for.
Just doing a lap time check on this current lap. Previous lap for Lucas Stoltz, a 3.6. Previous lap for Raffaello Marciello in second, a 3.4. Matt Campbell on his way, the previous lap that he completed, he's still to complete the current lap, was a 3.5. Here he comes. 3.4. Very, very close at the top of the field.
And all those lap times that you're looking at the moment are within a second or so of the best laps that those cars, have put in. So things are waking up here. Still just over 2 hours. 2 hours and 8 minutes to go in 4, 3, 2, 1. And now the race is coming alive. They've not exactly been cruising all this time. That's not fair to say that. But they've been working themselves into a position from where they can launch in to the last couple of pit stops. And we're down to the last, well, single pit stop for most of them now. Who's got tyres left? You'll have tried to save a set of tyres. Here's a brand new sticker set of Pirellis going on to, is that the Ben car coming in, the 777? Yes, it was.
Ricardo fella out. Chris Meese should jump in that car for the end, and we'll get some brand new tyres for his troubles.
Hi, Chris.
So
here's the car. Here's some new Pirellis.
Oh,
we're going to fill you up. Can you turn it up to 11, please?
So their now focus will be winning the Boiselle Pro-Am class.
Yeah.
The race within a race. They're 1.8 laps behind the outright lead, and they're running out of time. They've got an hour and 6 minutes before the opportunity for a wave-by to get back onto the lead lap ends. After the 11th hour of the race, into the final hour, you have to drive through a pit lane to get out of the way of the cars that are fighting for the lead. You don't get your lap back. So they're running out of time to engineer themselves back onto the lead lap. So right now, it's just go as quickly as you can, focused on the class victory. Still get to stand on the top step of the podium at Mount Panorama, and that'll be a result for Yasser Shahin. Put this team together, Audi Sport Customer Racing Australia. So right now they're battling the Pro-Am, the 65 of Mostert, Talbot and Ross in 9th position, but the fair amount of track position between them and a pit stop now as well. So these guys looking pretty good for class victory, but still 2 hours and 6 to go, a long way. Keep in mind, the longest domestic GT race in Australia last year was 3 hours outside of the 12-hour. Here's Daniel Gaunt. Congratulations to young Dutchman Lawrence van Hoopen, who won the NZGP not too long ago over at Hampton Downs. Daniel Gaunt's won the NZGP on 2 occasions in the past. The few races to hold the title of Grand Prix without it being a round of the Formula One World Championship, one of only 2. The leader in the lane, Lucas Stoles, pits. And a critical moment for this team as they set themselves up for the run to the flag.
Penultimate pit stop for the leader of the race.
Marciello makes his way through turn 1 as Jules Gunon climbs aboard the 75 Sun Energy AMG Mercedes. We expect that this is the second last stop for this car. Remember, this car had some overheating issues earlier today. Car controller just checking the front grille, making sure that's okay. Tyres going on now for Jules Gunon. I wonder whether also they just take tyres in this stop, and then that gives you the flexibility as to whether you want to take tyres in the last stop and go for ultimate speed, or don't take tyres in the last stop and try and get some track position, if that's what you need to get into the lead of the race ahead of the final hour.
Well, we're in New South Wales. That's Sydney Harbour, the world's great natural harbours, and this city is an amazing place to visit. The bridge, the Opera House, all the historic buildings and all the amazing things to see and do every time you come to this place. And it's what you see when you fly in and then jump over the Blue Mountains to come to Mount Panorama. Spares box highlights as we work our way into the final 2 hours. She's been a bruising affair, a fast affair, with long green flag runs, the highlight of a day that's claimed some victims on the mountain. The Grove Porsche was out early. It seems like an age ago at times. The Adrian Dietz Lamborghini had a pretty brutal run for an hour there, and unfortunately they were out of the race after just 70 laps. The young gun Aaron Cameron, who'll race S5000 open wheelers this year, in 21st position and out of the race, 89 laps in, with a big crash down at the Dipper. 47 Super Run car was involved in that as well. And then a massive one for Scott Taylor, similar location, this time went in side on. That team having raised a heap of cash for charity this weekend. Pit stops, strategy have been the feature. And all through it all, this car has done a bulk of the leading, with Raffaele Marciello behind the wheel, Maro. Engel having driven so well, and Bathurst rookie Mick Grenier doing a really nice job on his debut. Still question marks over their strategy. This is how the class leaderboard looks, with the Pro-Am class going the way at this point of the 777, the Bend Motorsport Park entry. And the Audi also leads the way in the silver class, with Daniel Gaunt behind the wheel, their 12th outright for International Motorsport, and Mark Cars Australia cars up to 18th, leading Invitational. We've just seen the 75 pit, so they are out of sequence with the other leaders. We're expecting stops at about the 10-hour 20, 10-hour 30 mark to get them to the end, if not a little bit later on. So Mercedes-AMG, Porsche, BMW with Team WRT still in the mix. Let's see where your favourite driver stands. Quiet day for the Hallmark Property Group crew. They're running around in 13th place. Mark Sini, Lee Holmesworth and Dean Fiore. Lee is behind the wheel of that car at the moment. They're in the Pro-Am class and running 5th in category. So that's how things shape up right now. Just over 2 hours to go at Mount Panorama.
That 30 seconds at the front of the field, of course, as we've been saying, can disappear in a moment or two. Let's head down the pit lane where Chad's crunching some more numbers. Chad, what do you got for us?
Well, now that we've had that 75 in and they've made that driver change over to Gunon, we now have a bit of an idea, presuming that they all did take on a full tank of fuel, as to when this last round of pit stops may happen. So well may the mechanics just get a little bit of shut-eye, because we're not too far away from really the climactic finish that we all wanted to see here. So as it stands, the race leader, how are they looking at the moment? Yes, g'day, g'day, car 999. I think we can expect them in around lap 295, guys. Now this is, again, if they're going to run 37 laps since that last pit stop, which is the longest that they've really got out of a green flag run. So presuming that they did fill it up, I think 999's going to come in somewhere around the 295 mark. The big surprise there was that they didn't do the driver change on that last stop. That means they have to do a driver change on their last stop. And I kind of feel that means that they'll make it very hard to not do tyres as well, because they're going to be triple stinting tyres to the finish. Plus, trying to do a driver change on fuel only would be too stressful. So fuel, tyres and driver change. So they got one big long stop coming up, in other words. Now we go back to car 912 as the Valente Rossi team come on in. I've got them coming in about lap 290. So I think they'll be the first in. They were the first to pit in that last round of pit stops. I think it'll be the same again, unless they've been, as Garth Tander was maybe talking about earlier, they've been keeping an ace up their sleeve for a little bit more fuel mileage towards the end of the race that we didn't know about. We'll have to wait and see. They will have the opportunity to roll the dice on taking tyres only, knowing that the 999 will have to take tyres surely at that last stop. And that leaves us with car 75, who is currently sitting third. They've, of course, got one more stop left. We can expect Gunon to finish that race in that car. If they took on a fuel tank, a full fuel tank at that last stop, they get to lap 300. So every 5 laps, 290, 295 and 300. Now, they'll obviously be taking fuel only, because that is really a splash and dash IndyCar style to the finish.
And Chad, on current numbers, 3:16, 3:17 looking likely for total race distance. So they'll need to put essentially a 16 lap, 17 lap fuel load in that car.
So the cool thing about it, you've got 3 guys in contention, and the order of the race that they sit on is how they will have the length of their pit stops. So the leader has the longest stop, the guy in second has the shortest stop, and the guy in third has the shortest stop of all of them.
It's like a golf handicap.
Yeah, so it actually plays out beautifully for us. The big thing is that 30-second gap. There's just no substitute for pace, is there? So the fact that they've got a 30-second lead right now with this car is the ultimate hand. They want this to run green to the finish. A safety car would sure, well, to be honest, we'll just throw all those numbers out that I just came up with.
If you're over in Europe, listening and watching, or in the US, congratulations if you stayed with us in the UK or Europe. What is it? 4:45 in the morning on a Sunday morning there. 5:45 in Europe. Thanks for staying with us. Don't go anywhere yet. Get yourself coffeeed up or some beverage of some description, like Chris Suku, who is putting on the coffee and making breakfast. So he doesn't want to miss a further minute of the race. I think that's smart, Shea, don't you?
I think it's wonderful, and it's a great idea to find a comfy place to sit and watch the race, too. And that's exactly what Luca Stoltz has done. Luca, that was a very long stint for you in the peak heat of the day. How tired are you?
It's still okay. Our Mercedes AMG is quite cool inside, so I'm actually still quite relaxed. And yeah, I was actually hoping to get another set of tires to catch a little bit of time back, but yeah, now Jules is in the car, and yeah, we're still in a fight for the podium. Currently, I think we need a yellow to win, but yeah, we are still in the fight.
That's you done for today?
Yeah, Jules to the end.
Are you comfortable with Jules being in the car since you have co-driven with him so many times?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's French, but I still like him. No, he done an awesome job in Daytona recently, and last year did the finish, the last 2 hours. I'm really confident that he can finish the race. But yeah, I'm always a bit nervous when other guys finish the race. So yeah, let's see.
Thanks for the comfy seat and the chat.
Thank you.
In Gilles Gounon defence, doesn't he now race under the flag of Andorra?
Yes, he does.
Yeah, in the Pyrenees. So that's a bit harsh from Lillo, I thought.
It was great. Just a lap time check on the previous lap for the top 3 cars. 2:03.31 for Marciello, 2:03.32 for Matt Campbell, 2:03.21 for the 75 car. So talk about pace at the front. They're all doing exactly the same pace. 30 seconds between first to second, a further 13 seconds between second and third. So you heard Lucas Stoltz say there, we need a safety car. He's right, they do.
Yeah, it's that they're 16 laps short. Basically, if this was a Bathurst 1000, they haven't got quite to that magic lap 132 number you need to get to make it to the end. So that's that 20 minutes we've been talking about for the last couple of hours. They're just slightly short. If you're a BMW fan, and I'm sure there are many, given who's driving them, and they've got great heritage here at Mount Panorama. The 32 car with Shelton van der Linde behind the wheel, 49 seconds off the lead at the moment. They're basically on the same pit stop strategy as the Porsche. Probably not quite the same economy, but it's a lap or two the difference. Their issue is they're a further 19 seconds down the road, but they're on the lead lap and they're only 50 seconds off the lead, so I don't think we can rule them out by any extent. Certainly for Podium, and then if the 75 has to make, when they have to make at this point that last pit stop on lap 300, then it could be a battle for third place between them and that BMW. And it could be a track position advantage potentially for the BMW. So that will be worth following between those two.
The Pro-Am class, 8th, 9th, and 10th and 11th actually are the top 4 there. Chris Mace leads that for the 777 car, and he is just under a minute ahead of Chaz Mostert in the number 65 car, which has been there or thereabouts in that category all day, and a further 1 minute 15 seconds back. Jamie Winkup's now been plugged into the number 99. It's the Boost Mobile AMG, the black and dark red car. That's the battle there for the top 3. David Reynolds is a couple of laps further back from that, so it's unlikely to be able to pull that back on pace, but that doesn't mean that some kind of incident could...
Still an hour and 54 to go. Yeah. It should be Richie Stanaway in that 99 car for the end.
Yeah,
I would have thought. So, Mies Mostert Stanaway, it's a reality TV show of mine watching. He's pretty feisty in the battle for Pro-Am at the finish. Mies has got the upper hand at the moment in the 777.
Currently enjoying fairly lengthy green flag period through this phase of the race. Hey, I'm just trying to drum up a bit of business here. But where I was getting was we have 3 minutes left of wave around time.
Yes, that's a
in the
good
race.
point. That is a good point.
So if we are going to have a safety car that has the potential to bring some more players back in the game, that safety car does need to fall before 1 hour to go left in this race.
Yeah, very good point, Garth. Richard Creel, Garth Tander, and John Hindorf in the booth. It's Chad Barretts and Shea patrolling the pit and the paddock. And all of you keeping your eyes open for us. Thanks for all the tweets. Hashtag B12HR. Been very, very busy. And the international audience, as well as the people here at the track, chirping in as well. And hope you are feeling up to it for this last just under 2 hour sprint. It's the dash for glory, lads.
Here's proof that I've given up on laptops and reverted to the notepad from a strategy point of view.
You've worn your laptop out today, mate. It's numbers you've been running.
It's having some issues, I'm not going to lie. 2 hours 52 under green now, which eclipses the previous record in this race, at least, the longest green flag stint. So it is a long, long haul of green flag running.
John, you made mention that the speed is starting to come back into this race. I just noticed Jules Gounon's last lap was a 2:02.7. Yeah. Peak lap time for that car was a 2:02.3 much earlier today.
Yeah,
so
half a second away from the best lap.
Jules Gounon starting to do Jules Gounon things in that car again. We saw him do this last year in the last stint of the race. And closed that gap to the lead down. It was near on 44 seconds, down to 41 seconds. So still showing good speed in this car.
Sorry, Gav, the last 3 years of this race, it's been run, so 2022, 20 and 19, the fastest laps of the race have been set in 2019 on lap 300.
Yeah.
Lap 2022, 305 laps in. That was Kelvin van der Linde being angry at the end. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And last year, 256.
So to reiterate, Gounon's previous lap now, 2:02.6. So he's slowly making his way back down. Current fastest lap of the race is actually Chaz Mostert.
Yeah.
2:02.1 back on lap 170. So getting back towards the peak speed for this particular car is Gounon.
The quickest race lap in the 12 hours GT3 history. So the pace today, just echoing how quick this race has been. And just to reiterate, 314 laps, 1,950 kilometres. The lap and distance record here, that was 2020. That race was run at 162 kilometres an hour average over the day. It's the
including the pit stop.
The whole race, from start to finish, 100 mile an hour in the old school. It's the third quickest endurance race in the history of this place. All the 1000s, that was the third quickest race. And I know you'll hate me for saying this, if this goes green towards the end, this will go
There's
further.
our safety car.
Garth just said it before, but he gets away with it. I suppose it's fair. He's won back 5 times. He's allowed.
I did pull him up on it. I did pull him up on it.
He's won it, so he speaks with some credibility.
If it goes
Anyway,
green.
it's a great stat.
If it goes green.
If it goes green.
You were about to say.
Yeah, it will eclipse that. We'll
All
go
right,
further
we'll go
than
far.
314 laps.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll get 2,000. I'm not sure there's enough time left, but it'll be quicker than that. Imagine telling someone even 20 years ago at this place that you would run 12 hours at 100 mile an hour average for the whole day.
Including safety cars, pit stops, the whole shoot and dice.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you probably wouldn't have believed it 10 years ago. Just shows the speed of these cars, the professionalism of the teams, and the ability for drivers to continually punch out fast lap times. That's been the impressive thing today, is Richard Creel becoming disappointed when we see a 2:04 lap time. You would have been wrapped 5 years ago to be in the 4s at any stage of the race, lap time-wise.
Motorsport family's been tuned in from around the world. Marcus Mahi up early. He's been watching from Brisbane. Lucy Higston, who was Max Martin and team manager, I think, at Le Mans, certainly. And Dries Vanthoor as well. Drivers tuning in from all over the place as well. This has really caught the imagination. Porsche, what have Porsche got left? That gap is not coming down. It's gone out a wee bit. Maybe a second and a half.
Yeah, It's been swinging backwards and forwards, hovering between the 30, 31 second buffer, first to second. That'll be just as they make their way through lap traffic. I would have thought.
The lovely thing about not having as many cars as we've had in the past is here all the cars we've had have been absolute class in terms of teams and driver combos. Also, it means that with a bit of luck, you hope you get less incidents in traffic. But of course, if you're trying to catch somebody, you're hoping for the leader to get, a little bit of a fumble just as they're going through a couple of cars that are battling for position. So what we're seeing here, and I actually really quite like this, we're seeing genuinely the relative performances of these cars and drivers. And it's going down to tenths of seconds here, tenths of seconds there. But when you've had nearly 3 hours of green flag, of course, that is going to spread people out.
It's proper heads-up racing. We're not seeing it door handle to door handle, but they are wringing the neck of these cars. They do not have any more performance in them now at this stage of the race. They are giving us everything these cars have because they want to maintain track position. So Marciello wants to maintain his 30-second lead over Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell wants to maintain the 10 seconds over Gilles Gounon because, as Chad referenced earlier in the pit stop report, we're expecting that the leader's going to have the longest pit stop, Porsche the second longest pit stop. So we're effectively, like it was a great analogy, there's a golf handicap coming up to finish this one off. And that will close the gaps up. That's why we're seeing the cars being driven so hard right now.
This is the third place Pro-Am car in the pit lane, the Boost Mobile AMG. They can't get to the end from here, so they'll have another run down the pit lane. Looks like Jamie Whincup is staying in the car, and he's going to be offered a new set of Pirelli tyres. They look brand new to me. And just behind, it's the
Nicky Katzberg.
Yes, it is, the fifth
Craft
place
Bamboo
car.
fifth place car.
So he can't get to the end from here either, Garth.
No, they can't. So that's interesting because they were running on an alternate strategy, as Craft Bamboo tend to do. Run some pretty adventurous strategies. It worked spectacularly last year.
Yeah, they're half an hour short, basically, to get to the end from here. They've been a bit of an enigma for mine today. They've been competitive-ish, but not quite enough to be in that leading mix, but they've been better than that group of cars.
Come and gone, haven't they?
Yeah,
definitely come and gone.
So that's going to be almost a stint and a half he's got to do on those Pirellis that have just been bolted on to there. I suspect they'll just give him a glug of fuel to get him to the end when he comes in again. It's been a couple of teams like that, though, in fairness, Grillsy. That they've been there or thereabouts, but more thereabouts than there, if you see what I mean.
I'm with Rich, though. I felt like the 77 car was coming, and it was playing itself into the race. It's just drifted in the last stint, I think stint and a half. And taking this stop now, however it's played out, will hurt them. Yes, definitely another one to go.
It is Danny there behind the wheel of that car. All the years that I've commentated on Danny, I'd never properly met him and had a chat with him. We put that right on Town to Track earlier this week. And what a smashing lad. Chris Meese still trolling around as well, ticking off the laps in the 777. That's the first of Pro-Am cars, 9th position there, with a minute's gap to Chaz Mostert.
Cars on screen, Trent Harrison leading David Russell. They are for position on the timing screen, but there's 9 laps between them. So,
yes,
even if D. Russ does get past Trent Harrison, he will not elevate himself on the timing screen. Saw this car involved with a big moment at the top of the mountain, found itself backwards in the run from Skyline to the Dipper. How it kept going, I don't know. But the team have done a good job.
Wiped out by the following cars, to be honest.
Kept it in the game. It's a bit of a meeting of the minds going on at the back of the garage here at Gripper M.
Yes. Now, what's going on here?
I just heard that Paul Martin, Bathurst 12 hour, that's Paul there with the headset on from the Motorsport Operations team, is down there talking to this team. So
he's got a book with him too. So that generally means you're pointing out some sort of ruling. It's Campbell Little as well, part of Motorsport Operations for the Bathurst 12 hour.
Well, that's technical then.
Yeah, so little story going on. Maybe we send Chad up there or Shay just
When
to
were they last in?
snoop around. So they were last in 15 laps ago.
Okay. I wonder if they needed to get a data stick or something like that. Let's hope that's being done. All of the things that we were talking about earlier on that Motorsport Australia have...
The only obvious one, Heidi, is driver time, but 3 hours 34. That's fine. You
As
can
in
do
total driver time so
time
far
today.
for Marciello. I mean, we're just hunching at the moment as to whatever that discussion might be that's going on. But Maro Engel was there, and he didn't look overly thrilled with what was taking place.
Lucas Stolz.
What's that? They got in their
Isn't far
hand there.
away.
There's something. The mechanic has something in his hand here. Don't find out exactly what that is, because that's what the discussion looks to be around.
There's an awful lot of stuff that is data that's passed backwards and forwards that isn't done in real time. It's done on data sticks and things like that. And so there are sensors, there are bits and pieces in the car that are independent of the
Manufacturer.
of the manufacturer.
Yeah.
So some of those things they've got to be running and
All the time, yeah, that's
all
right.
the time.
Yep, they're series data loggers, race data loggers, all sorts of systems capturing information, as you say, John, separate to the actual manufacturer systems in the car. Doesn't change anything, the fact that Marciello is still going very quickly. They're out to 3.9, 3.95 for Marciello, 3.91 for Matt Campbell, 3.66 for Jules Gounon. So he continues to be the fastest of the top three and just slowly closing that gap down. That gap to lead now for Gounon is 39.8 seconds. Still with an hour and 40 minutes to go in this one.
Yeah, that's wiring.
That's
definitely a
I think it's some sort of
wiring
logging
part.
device. Definitely a logging device.
Yeah, somewhere there's data not coming out of that car is what I'm hearing.
Oh, really?
Different sources up and down the pit lane.
Okay.
Texting madly to try and find out what's going on. Our team will be there and we'll report that.
An unscheduled pit stop at this time when you're into this area, you know, you do not want an unscheduled pit stop.
So what the team will be trying to avoid is the requirement to change out whatever that data capturing device, assuming it is some sort of data capturing device.
Confirmed now.
Yeah.
It is a data logger issue that is coming through from a number of sources, as Krilsey has said. Now, whether that is something that can be swapped out, whether it's a card collection issue or whether that's live data collection, because some of these cars have, the series have effectively it's not exactly an internet modem, but it's something similar.
They do, and for telemetry.
And you get at various points around the track, it downloads the data in real time.
And what it does is it has got to transmit, it's got to send that data back to race officials throughout the race. That is a race requirement, it's a race rule. Now the modem that does that has broken down. So what race officials have done is they've given them a fresh modem and it's got to go in at the next pit stop. So it's going to slow up that pit stop. That's what the discussion is about at the moment. But it is a race requirement. They've got to do it, guys.
Barrett's, have they got to come and do that straight away? Or an extra pit stop?
On the next pit stop is fine, yeah.
Okay. So it doesn't mess up their strategy, but it does mean they've got an extra bit of work to do, Krilsey.
There's a lot of happy people at Manti EMA Racing at the moment.
Well, there's still a long way to go. You don't wish ill against your opposition. What they're doing there, to steal one of your quotes from today, I loved it, is the team are MacGyvering up a way to get this done as quickly as possible.
Yeah. And when we were talking about Manti earlier on and how they plan the race, I was once, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago at the Nürburgring 24 Hours, and they got clobbered on the formation lap and broke a radiator. came in on the end of the formation lap at the Nürburgring 24 hours, and they planned and schemed and had the right strategy, won the race. You know, so you start from the absolute worst part of it, and the car came through to win the race. Timo Bernhard was driving the car at that point. Let's go back down to Chad and see what numbers he is looking at the moment.
Well, actually, I'm talking to the Pirelli guys in the Pirelli pit bunker. How good is that? Because they've been such a big talking point throughout the course of the weekend that I wanted to bring in Matteo Praga from Pirelli Motorsport. He's come all the way from Italy to be here at the 12 Hour once again. Great to see you. Everyone's talking about these new tyres, but let's just talk logistics. How many people, how many tyres? Such a big operation to bring all the way down under.
Yeah, this year, let's say Bathurst is our first event for the GT department, and it's a wake-up call after Christmas break, and it's always a big challenge from a logistic point of view. We bring nearly 2,000 tyres from, that are shipped from Europe, and we are about 35 people, staff, between fitters, engineer, logistic, and marketing. And yeah, it's the first time that we bring a new product that we already tested last year in Europe, and it's interesting to see how it behaves in Bathurst.
How does Bathurst compare to some of the other tracks that you go to around the world in terms of what the challenge is for the tyre?
But the challenges are different because Bathurst is quite unique because you have a section that is very fast and is generating not much temperature in the tires, and the mountain that is very twisty and you generate a lot of temperature in the tire. So you need to find the right balance to have a product that has a wide range of use, and as well between the morning and the afternoon now there is a big gap in terms of temperature. So degradation, warm up, and everything are you need to manage them differently from the morning to the afternoon, and as well the product has to cope with these different conditions.
A lot of the race fans here are excited to see lap record speed in qualifying. I imagine for Pirelli to bring a new tyre and see those lap times would be just as exciting for you guys too.
Yeah, it was exciting, honestly. We were not expecting to beat the record. We knew with our references that the new compound had more grip, but we were not sure about the conditions that were ideal for that compound. But yesterday, yes, it was a pleasure.
Well done with the new tyre. It's very fast on track, very durable in all conditions. Great to have Pirelli's partnership here again at the LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12 Hour.
Thanks, Chad. Massive logistical effort for Pirelli to get tyres into the country to support this race. We thank them for their support. They've been an enormous backer of this race since 2016. Let's go down to Shay.
Well, guys, it's looking a little bit better here at Group M. For some reason, the box just happened to come back online. Now, they have not been stood down yet from replacing the box, but they have been told, be ready to do it at the next pit stop should there be another hiccup. But for now, you're back up online. You're okay.
Shay, what happens to the data that wasn't being transmitted then? How do they replace that? Is there a data card that will have to be looked at after the race to make sure that none of the parameters that information was relating to, none of the parameters have been broken out of? They basically haven't broken out that bracket.
Well, I would expect that the data is still being logged inside the car. It's just not being live transmitted back to race control, which is what the requirement is as per Appendix 6. So now that they've got it fixed and they've got the transmission back up and going again, that's one part of it. Race control will have to examine it further after when the cars go to post-race tech.
Nice work quoting the appendix as well. Good work, right into the rule book.
Come on, you've worked with Miss Adam before.
I'm not saying I ever doubted it would be a thing.
That's, I mean, is that lucky or unlucky? I don't know, because
I'd be still nervous.
So,
I'm still nervous there.
What happens if they get through that stop and it stops transmitting again? But
And you've got to come back. They force you back.
then the will bring them back.
They will force you back.
Yeah.
So
at the moment, they're being given a little bit of leeway.
So the decision is made to make is, do you just change it out
Anyway.
with caution? Because you've got one more stop. You've got one more chance to come in and do a precautionary change anyway while you're performing your pit stop.
But if it's a connector or a part of the wiring loom, you could actually put the new one in and it not work.
Yeah, well, that's true.
So you're rolling the dice either way, aren't you?
Either way.
It does mean that there'll have to be scrutiny on that data when they come in. And this is the things that we were talking about earlier on, like tyre pressures and all of that sort of thing. Also for the turbo cars, there's boosts, pressure. That's all part of the BOP. Now this isn't a turbo car, so that's not one of the things that would be looked at.
One of the things that was changed overnight for the AMG balance performance change was the lambda numbers, the air-fuel ratio that the cars are allowed to run, the window they're allowed to run in, the fuel burn rate effectively. So I do wonder whether they just want to make sure that they're logging all the information to make sure that is all operating in the right window. Matt Campbell continues on his way. He's trying to chase down Raffaello Marciello. An hour and 33 minutes left to go in this one.
I wonder if at a point on Conrod, perhaps they just got Lello to reach out and give the thing a bash.
A bash? I thought you were going to go with alt control delete.
The old technical tap. Just, which is the simplest version of have you tried turning it on and off again. It's been a day at Mount Panorama. Some people started very, very, very early. By early, I mean Thursday.
Let's take a look at and remind everybody about the class structure that we have here at the LIQUI MOLY Bathurst. 12 hours and head into the Pro-Am category, the 777. 8th position overall, just on 2.5 laps away from the lead. Could have been a bit different, actually, that, but still leading their class for the Ben car, and still discussions going on down at Group M at the front of the field. Chris Meets leads Chaz Moster in the blue number 65 in that Pro-Am class by under a minute now, 55 seconds. Chazzy's just been chasing that white Audi down. Chaz Moster with the fastest lap of the race, actually, some time ago, lap 169. So, very many hours ago. That's the second Audi in the Pro-Am category, inside the top 10, of course.
An adventurous race, this car, hasn't it? Contact with the wall, drive-through penalty early for Chaz when he was at the wheel, leaving pit lane, crossing the blend line on a cold tyre.
Third in that category, the dark grey and red Boost Mobile AMG. Jamie Whincup looks to be taking this one to the end. You saying that's red or orange?
It's definitely orange.
It's orange.
Boost orange.
Boost orange.
Yep.
Yeah.
That colour down here in Australia. This car, we expect, though, has one more stop to go.
Yeah.
When they took that previous stop, it was too far out of the fuel window to get to the end. So, third, still up in the air for that car.
Richie Stanaway's only driven 3 hours and 14 minutes, so I expect him to jump in. He'll jump in there.
And it's Davy Reynolds who's trying to chase them down. He's just about 1.5 laps away from them and a step on the box in that Pro-Am class. Silver class, well, that's running down, the leader there running down in 13th position. Dylan O'Keefe behind the wheel of the Mylands team. I'm not sure they've been headed in that silver category, Grills.
No, they've been on top. David Russell led very early in 47 before they had that incident.
That's right.
The spares box dipper. 25 yesterday, Dylan O'Keefe, and didn't surprise us, but impressed us all with a low 202 early in qualifying.
That
really
was very
impressive.
impressive. Yeah. Nice lap.
And here's the 101, Harold Valenti Rosso entry. Josh Hunt behind the wheel. Hasn't driven for a long, long time and was dusted off. They needed another driver in their roster this weekend to make the seating work to get into the silver class. And here is that class leader, Dylan O'Keefe, running down into the Scuderia Auto Art chase. "90 minutes to go at Mount Panorama in the LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12-hour. There's still lots to play out. There's still a round of pit stops to go. And if you're not up to speed on the strategy yet, the car that's leading's got the longest pit stop, the car that's second's got the second longest pit stop, and the car that's third has got the shortest pit stop of them all. And there's a little question mark over our race leader from a technical standpoint. The data logging device that was failing to transmit data, and then it started transmitting again. And then we looked and there was some consternation down in that garage at Group M Racing. So there is a little question mark over whether they need to change what is essentially a modem to make sure that transmits. And if they have to change that, it could define the outcome of this race.
Well, how long does it take to change that? They have one more pit stop left in this 90 minutes. How long does it take to change? Where is it in the car?
If it's my internet service provider, about 2 weeks.
Yes, very fair. Now, she knows all the regulations because she was quoting Appendix 6 there. Is there a requirement for that to be transmitting all the time?
I would imagine there would be, yes. And so that's where I'd be nervous that it just randomly starts working again.
Yeah.
Electrical things don't just fix themselves. Let's find out some more from Chad.
Just having a look at that gap. So Marcello back to Campbell. It sits at 31 seconds. So you might go, well, they've got 30 seconds up their sleeve. That would be a little bit of time to play around with it. But if the Porsche decides to not throw tyres on it, that's about 12 seconds right there. So what was a 30-second gap should be more like maybe even about 18 seconds. So now he's starting to get pretty hairy if you can change out what's essentially a piece of computer work in about 18 seconds.
And then there's still the question mark over the driver solution for that car, Chad, towards the end of the race, because we expected them to put Mick Grenier in that car in the stint that they're in right now. So that's another question mark over the 999 and it getting to the line. Unless they know something about continuous driver time that we don't.
Well, Engel can't get back. No, he's
maxed out.
He's maxed out. 340 minutes.
He's been trying to win this race on 6 prior occasions, Maro Engel, and if they don't get up today, it won't be because of his effort. He has been mighty.
He's left nothing in the fast draw at all. He's taken it out the filing cabinet, turned it upside down and shaken it on the floor.
He would go beyond what he achieved here yesterday, which will be remembered for a very long time. He stints in the morning part of this race and came in and was telling us about how he felt, and he said he was getting goosebumps just remembering driving into that sunrise. He loves this place so dearly, and it's been unkind to him. Came pretty close in 2017, quite public spat. After that race ended abruptly in a Scott Taylor Motorsport entered AMG, and then drove his heart out at the end of last year. But the only unfortunate thing for him in that race was that he was chasing Jules Gounon, and you tend not to work your way past him.
Okay, here's Appendix 6. It must be fitted and operational at all times that a car has left pit exit. This is the Mortex Balance of Performance Logger, telemetry modem and the in-car warning systems. So GPS there, telemetry modem to BOP, logger wiring loom, and 2 modem.
I wonder if as well, if it's the telemetry system and the warning light system, that if that's failed,
it's more about the warning system.
They may not be getting the warning system in the car.
Yeah,
we touched on that earlier today, and that will be why they need to fix it.
Yeah, that's right. It's more, I do, as soon as you mentioned that system is all interlinked.
Correct.
It's more, for me, it's probably more, I mean, they do need to have the telemetry for the BOP requirements to make sure the car's legal while it's on circuit at all times, but from a safety perspective, having that in-car warning system, that's when it starts to become much more regulatory, I believe.
And that's unique to this race, that system. So that's why there's the big question mark over it. And as you touched on, Garth, it is regulatory. So if you go through...
If you're another team manager, are you looking at that right now?
I'd be sniffing.
Yeah, correct.
Guys, this data logger in 999 is becoming a real issue. It has dropped out again. They believe it could be a heat issue is causing the problem. Now, it is estimated it'll take 30 seconds to swap it out if they need to swap it out. And if it is working when the car comes in, as the car comes in, if it's worked in that last period, then it's okay to continue on. They don't need to update it, swap it out. But if it's not working, they're going to need to swap it out, and it's 30 seconds worth.
So when we had it reported back to us that it had just magically started working again, I was still very nervous for this car, because electrical devices in hot environments like race cars don't just cure themselves. They tend to get worse before they get a whole lot better. And the fact that it's dropped out again does not surprise me.
This all ties into things we've been talking about all the way through, including your tyre pressures and things like that. I'm not sure what you do about this. I'm not sure what the officials do about this. That's why there's the conversation going on right now, because in some ways it's out of the team's control. It's not their fault. It's not their piece of equipment. Shea Adam.
Would you guys like a little bit of good news about this team, however?
Yes, come on.
Alrighty, so drive time so far, Mauro Engel, 4 hours and 28 minutes, which means that he still has a little bit of time left. The team realized that and said, Mauro, would you like to go in for the end? He very much would. So anytime they get below the 1 hour and 11 minutes to go mark, they can come in, do their final pit stop, and put the guy who put the car on pole and did the fastest lap ever for a GT3 car in BOP homologation to go back out to try and win his first ever 12-hour.
Not sure they've told Mickey Grenier that yet, because he was sitting there with his balaclava on, helmet, and ready to go. So maybe that was a quiet conversation with Mauro Engel. So Grenier waiting, Mauro not suited up just yet. Chad.
Imagine the reason why they've got Grenier ready, because if a safety car was to happen before that point, it would be Grenier's job to finish, because Rafa definitely can't stay in the car, and we know that it would be too early for Engel to hop in. So I just wonder if they're keeping him there for the next 11 minutes as an absolute safety option.
That's a very good point, Chad. So we thought the 75 car was the one that had a tight driver limit window, but also 99 or 999 now starting to see if they can make some strategy on the run and get one of their seriously hot guns back in the car to finish this race.
How
long? No, in 11 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long has Marciello still got on his drive time?
Well, in 11 minutes' time, it becomes an option to put Engel in.
Yeah.
From that point on, then Engel is an option to finish this race.
And they'll be good on fuel either way. So they're 25 laps into this stint. We've seen that car do 35 easily, Chad.
Yeah, they're actually good to the tune of 7 minutes with Marciello's continuous driving time, guys.
Right, smashing. That was the thing. Yeah, good.
Talk about a few balls in the air down in the Group M team right now.
Spinning plates.
Managing a technical issue with the car, managing driver time, managing strategy, managing what they're going to do at the next pit stop. Do they take tyres? I do seem to remember a while ago, Raffaele Marciello triple stinting a set of tyres at the end of the race for track position. It's a big call.
Imagine sitting down at the start of the day and you're told that your window for driver time is 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Out of 740 minutes in a day of car racing, 7 minutes, that's your window.
That's why we love this stuff, isn't it? And that's why we said at the beginning that it's just as much about the brains behind the computer screens. I mean, they're not on the pit wall here. We don't have the pit purchase, but all the guys who are working in the bunker trying to work out what's going on. It's just about as much about them as it is the guys on the rattle guns and the drivers behind the wheel to ensure that they get themselves into a position. And what about Jules Gounon? What about Jules Gounon then? Because he's now closing in on Matt Campbell. 3 seconds the gap now between Matt Campbell and Jules Gounon. There are 8 laps between them in terms of how long they've been out. So that's nothing. That really doesn't affect the strategy unless Gounon decides to stay out longer and catches a late race yellow. That's the only thing that he has an advantage. And still, the debate is going on down at Group M. There's a whole load of Manfilter guests down there. They're involved in it as well. They've got the little area for those guys to be plugged in and watching and listening. And there's drama on the track with a battle, a real-life battle for second and third in the overall. There's drama off track with all kinds of problem solving to be done. Decisions to be made that may well affect the outcome of the 2023 LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12 Hours. And stay with us as we head towards the last, well, what are we now, 80 minutes still to go, Garth Tander. And this one, I'm literally rubbing my hands here because there's so much that can still happen here. And there's still, there's still 4 cars within a minute at the front of the field.
Yeah, there is. And the reason that Jules Gounon is pushing on so hard right now, trying to close this gap down to Matt Campbell, is the expectation is the 75 car will have a shorter pit stop. So he might not actually have to pass him on the racetrack.
Yeah.
And he'll do to Porsche what Porsche's been doing to everyone else all day, spend less time in the lane and pass them in pit lane. So just when we thought that we had this one worked out, with 80 minutes to go, There's still so many variables. Gounon took near on a second out of Matt Campbell on the previous lap. On this lap just gone, it was another half a second. 2:02.9 for Jules Gounon. A 3:4 for Matt Campbell. Maro Engel now is helmeted up, suited up, ready to go. We're not quite into that window yet where he's able to go to the end. But
well, they can't both get in the car. I mean, that would just be an embarrassment.
Rock, paper, scissors down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gounon, though, continues this stalking effort on Matt Campbell. When Gounon got in the car, the gap to lead was near on 50 seconds. It's currently at 32.
Here's another question, and maybe this is why the debate is still going on down at Grubber M, and thanks to Chris Humphries, who's a British Marshal, and Matt G and a couple of other people who've tweeted using the hashtag B12HR. Let's not forget somebody's already been penalised for using tools in a pit lane. So will that modem come out without it having to be used for tools? Is it just a simple plug in, plug out? I don't know. Chad?
The other thing to think about now is we're past what would be what we call in Australia the critical lap of the race, that you can get home with one more stop left in the motor race. So if we were to catch a safety car from any point from here to the finish, they could make it all a one stop, all three of them. By the way, guys, I'm just watching Richie Stanaway throw his race suit on. So there was some speculation with Jamie Whincup finish that Pro-Am car, but I'm guessing it's going to be Richie because he's gearing up.
Sitting in third position at the moment, just over a lap ahead of David Reynolds in our battle for the last step on the podium in Pro-Am.
Gounon's taken 0.6 of a second out of Matt Campbell this lap.
Just
Matty's got some traffic here in the Porsche.
It's down to under 2 seconds now, that gap.
And keep in mind, this car's got a shorter final stop than the 912 Porsche. So once again, Jules Gounon is dragging car 75 into contention with the issues surrounding, the question marks surrounding 999.
Is Matty saving his tyres? Surely they're not going to make a double stint at the end.
They're going full rich.
He's hammered down now. So Matt Campbell gets his way past one of those lap cars. Jules Gounon will have to deal with them, and actually will likely come across this lap traffic. Who's in that car? I'm trying to look in the lapped car. Who is it? Is it with 10? O'Keefe? That's Glenn Wood.
Oh, yeah.
So does Glenn get out of the way before the shelf? Yes, he does. So
nice.
Nicely. Very experienced operator is Glenn Wood.
Heck of a story that this weekend. Turn up in a KTM, start practice and qualifying a KTM, ended in an Audi R8. End the race in an Audi R8. Those asking about the SIN didn't take the start this morning. The Daytona Sports Cars Run SIN, Northamptonshire's sports car manufacturer, the number 66 in the invitational class. Shame, because that was a bit of a fan favourite. We're inside the last hour and 15 minutes, and Garth Tanner's got his elbows out. Typical.
It's getting physical in the commentary box. It's going to get physical
for position
on the race circuit as well. Is Jules Gounon now comes up on the back of Dylan O'Keefe to put him a lap down. Matt Campbell's already dealt with that car. There's another car up the road for Matt Campbell. So lap traffic getting involved with this battle for second place ahead of our final round of pit stops. Critical, especially for Gounon, to get as close as he can to the back of that Porsche before those pit stops take place.
And we're 4 minutes, give or take, away from the magic number for 999 on the driver time scenario to get that car in, as Matty drops a couple of wheels off on the exit of the final corner. Dylan O'Keefe does the right thing. Correction, 47, David Russell does the right thing. You'd expect that. Very experienced pedal around here. And lets the bright yellow and green Porsche go through. And Gounon now has to work his way past the Audi, but the margin 1.6 seconds.
Russell lets him go here. That's smart play. Gounon will be happy with that. The clear lap traffic before they get to the cutting. It becomes pretty much one lane across the top of the mountain. So that gap now, second to third, 1.4 seconds. So as they negotiated that traffic, you would say that Gounon was the winner with that one, closing the gap down slightly more.
4:30 in the afternoon here. The shadows beginning to lengthen. There's parts of the racetrack that are in shade. where the leader is just come out of the elbow there and heading down the first part of Conrod Straight. So track temperatures are going to be all over the place. That'll change.
They're changing that device, guys.
They have to.
I can see it.
They have to, don't they?
The way they have things, there's double-sided tape, there's cable ties there. They have it all laid out.
Could this race 2 years in a row be Maro Engel chasing Jules Gounon to win Bathurst? Could it be, or could it be the other way around? It's awesome.
You're asking me questions I don't have the answer for right now, Rich.
I'm seeking guidance, Garth.
Surely they're going to have to put that car in the garage to do that.
Well, that's the next question.
Well, BMW had to put the car in the garage to wipe the rear lights.
But they had to plug something in, I thought I heard Shay say as well.
All right.
But they're going to have to unplug something on this car and plug something back in again. So that would fall under the same circumstance, you would imagine. So if they're getting that car on the skates and bringing it in the garage, it's over. It's over as far as track position goes.
Yeah, and then they have to fight back.
And then they're hoping for a safety car to close the track position back up again.
And then you get Angry Maro.
And then get Angry Maro. And I think it's Angry Maro on steroids this year because it's 2 years in a row that he'll be chasing down the lead of the race in the final hour.
And Angry Engel is a fast Engel.
Well, we saw how fast he was this morning when he was calm and serene in the sunrise. So can you imagine what he's going to be like when he's angry and tired as the sun sets?
3.6 for Campbell, 3.3, 2-minute 3.3 for Jules Gounon last time round, and both of them with 2 wheels off the exit at turn 1.
Put the stopwatch down. We can see the gap now. Both in string together. And Bathurst has done it again. It's found a way to create a unique storyline and keep us on the edge of our seat. Matty Campbell way too wide. Coming out of turn 1. Gounon driving through the dust that Matty Campbell throws up. Here we go. We get a nice face full of dust coming on the mountain straight.
No hint of a lift, by the way, not a scintilla of movement from the right foot from Matty Campbell as he went through there.
Sorry, John, just to touch on this issue with the group at M car, if they change it, it has to be from, and it will be from a technical directive from the Bathurst 12-hour.
Yeah.
From the 12-hour technical department. So they will make a call ultimately and say, no, you have to change it. Right. And then the team has to enforce it.
Just felt from the body language the last time we had the cameras in that garage that there was almost a resignation that was going to take place. So you're right, it's completely out of their hands. It's not something they've devised to put in this car. It's a logging device supplied to them. That's the cruelty of motorsport sometimes, and in particular the cruelty of the mountain. It can giveth and it can taketh away just as quickly. We're still speculating though, that hasn't taken place. The 999 car is out, but it looks to me like we'll find out very shortly as the team lay out tyres and come to the front of the garage ahead of what will be their last pit stop for the race leader. Battle for second, third rages on. Here's Matty Campbell. A bit tight here on the exit of turn 1 this time. It's much nicer. He's our leader leaving the cutting. 30 seconds up the road. Raffaello Macchiello. Driven spectacularly well. Managed the speed. He's probably blissfully unaware that all this is going on in the garage.
Of course he is. You would never tell them, would you?
No.
You would never tell the driver that. He's just been told to get on and hit his marks.
There's nothing as a driver you can do.
No.
So there's no point telling the driver because all it will do is distract them.
So just get a little bit more information on this. The team is saying the logger is functioning correctly. The modem, which is the part supplied by the event, is what's not working correctly. So they're going to replace the modem first. If that then works, potentially, if that then works correctly, and they're still not getting data, they'll have to come back in and replace the logger as well. But right now they believe the modem is the issue. Just to change tack very, very quickly on that, amazing scenes around the mountain and indeed around the city of Bathurst all week. A 3-day event attendance of 53,446 people. That is an event record. It's even larger than the 2019 event, which was held over 4 days. So 53,446 people have come to Mount Panorama. In comes 999. This could be the moment of the motor race this afternoon.
Isn't it amazing on the things on which motor races can turn? You cannot fault the drivers at all. You cannot fault what the teams have done. reliability potentially from something, an electronic device basically not connected.
Porsche is in as well.
Oh,
So Manti EMA respond immediately.
I think it's a great move by Manti, covering off what's going on.
How's the attack of the pit lane for Campbell getting that thing in?
But does it cover off the 999 car, or does it let Gunon off the leash?
Clear
in
air.
Clear air.
Chad?
Guys, they're out of fuel with that Campbell car. They've run 35 laps, and the biggest stint of the day in green flag running was 35. So that's just as far as they could get.
So that's let Gunon off the leash. It's all happening right now. 68 minutes left to go in this one. They're changing that modem on the M car in the lane. I wonder whether they got dispensation or allowance to do that.
Must have checked.
From the race officials. So let's keep an eye on the splits for Gunon while these two cars are in the lead.
Putting tyres on the Group M car. What do they do for 912?
You see them laid out there in the shade.
This is really clever for Group M because they're putting tyres on before the fueling so they can tyre and modem at the same time. Chad?
Yeah, well, they're going for tyres on that Campbell's car, so not going to roll the dice and try and save themselves. The pressure's 12 seconds. This is a massive advantage to car 75 that they've taken the time to do this.
Campbell's moving, so Campbell's moving. The Group M car is up towards pit exit. We'll see it here. Doors being shut. Firing it up, so they'll get out in front.
Oh, wow.
But that 30-second lead now has been reduced to what is the equivalent of about 5 or 6 pit bays.
So they've fueled the Group M car.
They're all good.
Then they put the tyres on, but were they working on the modem while they were fueling?
Well, they must have had dispensation to do that. But this Bathurst 12-hour technical team spent so much time in that garage. It must have been a question discussed. Here's Gunon running down into the chase. So
this lap hasn't been particularly fast. The first split and second split wasn't particularly great.
Gee, Manti EMA have been great in the pits. Minute 21 again. Every time, and they feel right now.
He's going to cover them off.
Yeah,
he's going to cover them off.
Don't give the Porsche any advantage on new tyres.
What's going on here? What's going on in the Group M garage?
It's long faces down there. It's a resigned look. They've come in because they can go to the end from here. The Sun Energy one car I'm talking about. They don't want to get caught on the wrong side of a safety car here. So they've covered off the two cars behind them. The car that's out of kilter here, but it will be in a short moment, is Sheldon van der Linde. It's 36 laps into the stint in that BMW. So he'll be in shortly for about an hour and 5 minutes.
Here's the race. Campbell at the BMW M elbow. Sun Energy One racing in. Do they put tyres on this car?
That's what I was about to say. Do you just fuel only? Well, they got tyres laid out.
Or is that a Furphy? Or
do you go for track position with 65 minutes to go and back your man in?
If they put tyres on, Campbell leads. Engel leads.
Engel leads. And does Gunon pop in between Engel and Matt Campbell? We know that Gunon was right on the tailpipe of that Porsche when Porsche came to the lane.
It's drinking, it's thirsty.
He's going, no tyres.
They're going to lead the race, Sun Energy One. The defending champions emerge in front. It's all cleansed to the end of the race, and Jules Gunon has clear racetrack, and for the second time in 2 years, he's going to have Maro Engel chasing him down.
There is a difference this year, though, Rich. Jules Gunon has on a set of tyres that he will need to double stint to the end. Engel on a fresh set of tyres. He will have speed at the end of this one.
And Matt Campbell is only 12 seconds away from the lead, also on a fresh set of tyres. 3 cars, 12 seconds, a dirty dozen of seconds to get to the end of this race with an hour and 5 minutes. And the top 3 are in a battle. Meantime, Sheldon van der Linde came in from what was second place when he came in. He holds on to the lead lap. Mark Beretta.
Guys, the information that car 999 was dying to hear online with the only words that were shouted out here. The modem is working. They are in this.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's deep sigh of relief.
It's taken us 10 hours and 55 minutes, but it's come to life, big style.
I was just watching where Van der Linde came out with regards to Brock Feeney for 4th and 5th. Brock's going to have to stop soon anyway for 888, but There was a chance that Van der Linde might get caught in. 777 in, 47 in, class leaders here in the Boiselle Pro-Am entry. So Chris Meese will take what will be their final pit stop with 63 minutes to go in the race. It'll be timed fuel. Can you see? Yeah, the door's open, so
Meese
Ricardo Feller should jump into that.
Ricardo Feller will climb aboard the 777 car to bring it home. Here comes Chaz Mostert into the lane. These cars are battling, so Meese and Mostert been battling for the lead of Pro-Am. Chazzy leaving nothing on the table at pit entry, as he always does.
That Porsche, the way Matt attacked that entry in the Porsche from on board was pretty spectacular. Some tyres going on down at Audi Sport Customer Racing Australia. So briefly the 65 will bump in front of Meese and then it'll swap when Meese goes. They're basically a full pit stop behind the Sportsbet car, but they'll battle it out.
Oh, drama at the right front for the 777 car. So,
or will they?
Not a slam dunk, but they will leave before the 65. Still drama going on.
I think Mostert's good to go to the end on that.
They're doing brakes. They're doing pads.
They're doing brake pads.
They're doing pads.
Well, they must have spotted that when they were doing the wheel change, and that's why the guy in the right front stepped away and signalled to the garage.
Feeney in. So for his final stop.
I've not seen a pad change on an Audi at the 12 hour before. Definitely never. I never did it in the team when I was doing the years. Let's hear from Chad.
Just wandered down to Mantha and had a chat to both of Matty Campbell's co-drivers as to why they took tyres on. And the simple answer is, well, two reasons. One, they thought that the 75 would be able to cover them if it was fuel only. So they figured we might as well throw tyres on it and hope for a safety car at some point. But it's just about pace. They just feel like they haven't got old tyre pace to be able to fight the Mercs if they're going to double stint. So the fingers crossed move here from Team Grello and the 912 is throw the new rubber on it and just pray for a safety car to punch him up. Put Matt Campbell back in the fight for a late race pass on fresher tyres.
This brake pad change continues for the 777 car as Chaz Mostert leaves pit lane and will take over the lead in Pro-Am.
And Mauro Engel has got to the back of the 75 Sun Energy One Racing AMG. Here it is. This is the battle for the race lead. 61 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the race. Everything's cleansed. They're good to go to the finish. And it's 0.8 of a second.
And new tyres versus stint old tyres. Performance advantage on the Pirellis to the car in second, the bright yellow car. Whatever else is going on there, there is a performance advantage, and he's only going to make them last another 61 minutes. I'm saying that slightly sarcastically because, you know, who knows?
Remember, Gunon did not leave anything on the table on the previous stint that these tyres did, so it's not like he looked after them to think that we will definitely double stint them. I feel like that was a call that was made late to get this track position, and he will have to deal with a tyre that will not be at its best. I mean, Engel has good speed now because the tyre is in its peak. It's coming in and it's working well. The performance advantage will start to negate as this stint goes on. So Engel will try and get this done as soon as he can while he has a tyre advantage, because the longer that he spends behind Jules Gunon, the less of an advantage he will have. And he'll get to the point in the middle part of the tyre stint where he'll have no advantage. So he's going to do it. He'll want to do it now.
And these two get into a scrap. All that does is bring the 912 into the equation as well and drags Matt Campbell closer.
And let's be honest, we hope that the race will last for another 1 hour. But if there's an incident and the race gets stopped, at the moment, the Sun Energy One car is leading. And, you know, I say that because that's happened before. It has happened. Bathurst had everything happen, hasn't it? Trees, kangaroos.
Nothing has not happened.
Yeah, there's hailstorms.
And yet, every time we say something like that, the script writers invent something new and creative. Great run down Conrad. Gunon defends. Is it enough? Jules is slightly offline, but does enough to get it down. He's sort of half blocked and half fainted across to the middle of the road.
I think visit New South Wales corner.
Turn two?
Yeah. If he gets off here, he'll get the drag up Mountain Straight. Got to be close. Doesn't want to be too close into the first corner and get too much push.
He needs a big drive advantage.
Here he goes. He turned, he went in on a slightly different line to the leader there, just so he had the air on the front spoiler.
Yeah,
really smart driving from Engel.
But what Gounon was doing there was squaring off the exit to get good drive traction off the exit of the corner to negate any of that mid-corner flow that Engel would have. He would have 2 or 3 kilometres an hour of a tyre advantage, a grip advantage through the mid part of the corner. But if Gounon could square the exit off and get good drive up the hill to 2, it negates that advantage that Engel has. I feel like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen at the chase. Get a good run out of Forest Elbow, use the slipstream and try and outbrake Gilles Gounon.
Well, that toe's been so effective,
Yes.
even within similar brands across the course of the weekend. So we've seen that today, and that will be key for Maro to get that car out of the BMW elbow well enough that he can drag himself up behind the almost identical AMG in front. Well, Kenny said yesterday he wanted just to make sure that they got themselves into the mix, in contention at the end, and then he'd leave it to the pro drivers that he's hired to drive for him to do the job, and they've done that. They've ticked the box. They've got themselves in a position to defend their Bathurst 12-hour victory. And now it's just up to Gilles Gounon to do it. Good drive out of the elbow for Engel. He's really close.
Gounon, he's squaring off the corner everywhere. He squared off the dipper and got a good run down to Forest Elbow. He squared off Forest Elbow to get a good run out down Conrod Straight. He knows what he's got to do with his car, and he's putting the car in all the right spots. Engel's a bit further back this lap. It'll be a fair move to get it done from back there.
That would be a low percentage lunge from there.
It would be, with 57 minutes left to go. You don't need to play those games right now.
Identical speeds through the trap.
That the defensive driving underneath.
Gounon's been doing that. I've been noticing that braking line. Oh, Gounon drops a wheel, though. He doesn't need to do that too many times. He comes on to pit straight. I've noticed that sort of brake in the middle part of the circuit, then dive the car out. Gounon's been doing that all day. Head up Mountain Straight. Engel
closer this time,
much, much closer. Definitely that wheel when he dropped the wheel. Gounon coming on to pit straight. Cost him some time. He's too far back again now, Maro Engel. So every lap that Gounon can keep Maro Engel behind is music to the ears for Gilles Gounon, because there's more and more heat going into the front tyre aboard this 999 AMG Mercedes.
Inside the last 60 minutes, that means if we see the AMG safety car, no more wave-bys. Any lap cars will have to go down pit lane to get out of the way. But at the moment, we've got a battle. We've got a battle for pace at the top of the mountain. We've got a battle for supremacy between two AMGs, two highly experienced GT3 drivers. They know these cars, they know this circuit. Gounon, Engel and Campbell in the Porsche, still only that 12 seconds behind. If there's a fumble, if there's a side-by-side incident, Campbell is there, lurking, if you can lurk in a bright green car. The Grello machine, is it green, is it yellow? No, it's Grello.
Another opportunity for Engel will be every time they come across lap traffic, should it just fall in the wrong part of the circuit for Gilles Gounon, whether he can take advantage of that Maro Engel, get a run on the Sun Energy AMG Mercedes. Wasn't able to do it that time, so they made their way past Jeff Taunton in the Mark car. Gounon, no need to defend this lap at the chase. Can take the racing line, keep the momentum up.
Underneath the LIQUI MOLY bridge to complete lap number 296. Slightly different lines again by the two drivers. That's Gounon squaring it off, as Garth Tander was saying. That means he gets the car straighter earlier, and the front wheels then pointing in the right direction. You get on the throttle earlier, you start to build your speed earlier, and that's what's keeping him ahead at the moment of Maro Engel in second. How'd you like this, Krillsy?
Oh, I'm quite enjoying it, thank you, John.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Is this what you ordered? Because, you know, Garth and I like to make sure you get everything you want.
I very much appreciate it. It means the world to me. 54 minutes to go. Two of the best GT drivers in the world, three of them, having an absolutely massive dip on a perfect afternoon at Mount Panorama. You get much better, I don't think. And it's amazing, isn't it, how these two just find themselves on the same bit of road. Once again, last year, it was an intense battle fought between 8 to 10 seconds apart for the final 2 hours, essentially, as these two just went at it. This time, there's a tyre advantage to the yellow car. Is there...
Oh, he's close this time off the dip at Ridge.
That's nice.
Will it be a send at the elbow? No, it's not, but it might be a good exit down Conrod Straight for Maro Engel.
Both of them got a good exit there.
Every time that Engel has a half look at Forest Elbow, it enables Gunon just to apex a little bit later and square off the exit and leave him less vulnerable for the run down Conrod Straight. Just trying to shake Engel out of the draft as they make their way down to the King.
He's half a car to a car, maybe too far back. Remember what Maro Engel said when he was sitting right here in the LIQUI MOLY comms booth? For anything from a second and a half behind, you're feeling the toe. Inside a second, and you're getting a lot of toe, but also the aero on the front of your car's not working. He's 0.2 of a second behind. It's not even that now.
And remember what Garth Tander said when this engagement commenced, the longer Maro Engel spends behind Jules Gunon, the harder it gets for him to find his way past.
That tyre advantage becomes less and less and less when you're stuck in right under the rear wing of the car in front. The front tyre temperature does go through the roof. You get more and more understeer, you lose performance from the car, you lose lap time.
I think they're pushing pretty hard, though. They're doing 2:04.2.
Oh, yeah.
But Matt Campbell, who's in relatively clear air and on new tyres, is last time around only did a 2:03.9. So they're not giving an awful lot away to Matt. So it's not a question of Gunon cruising and just putting his car in the right place here, Garth.
The other thing to remember, what were these two doing 7 days ago at the Rolex 24 at Daytona? They were winning it together.
Yeah,
together. Now they're rivals fighting out for victory, and only one of them's going to get it today.
And Maro was wearing his watch. He said, I'm not going to keep it in a box anywhere. I'm going to wear the Daytona Cosmograph. Oh, look at this. Again at the BMW elbow. This is tight again.
I just don't know where to move.
No.
Because forcing Jules Gunon into a mistake is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Teammates at Daytona a week ago. They won the Daytona 24 hours, sharing a car. Now they are dueling it out for Australia's International Enduro. Jules Gunon leads Maro Engel by a Mercedes length with 51 minutes to go. And the question is, how long can they keep this up as they battle for victory? It's a repeat of the fight from the 2022 edition of this race. Same cars, same brand, slightly different teams. And there's so much on the end of this. Maro Engel, who's been coming here, this is his 7th visit to the 12-hour. He's got a Bathurst 1000 start to his credit. He would desperately love to win this race. He's passionate about this place and all of its history. He said this morning he got goosebumps driving into the sunrise. For Jules Gunon, looking to become the first triple winner of this race and the first to win it back to back to back.
It looks like they're tied together with a very short bungee cord, doesn't it? As they're going up there. You'll have done this before. It looks like somebody doing follow laps. When you've got someone out, they're very fast follow laps, but that's exactly what it looks like at the moment. This is not a script. This is not a movie. This is a race. There's nothing staged about this. These guys are pushing as hard as humanly possible in those two cars, and it closes up again, Garth, down towards the elbow.
Gunon, there's nothing left in that car. There's no more performance. There's definitely more performance in Maro Engel's car still with that fresh tyre set on it, but not enough to get it himself into a position where he can set Jules Gunon up. So it's going to require something else to happen. Does Gunon make a mistake and enable Engel to get a run, or do they encounter some lap traffic Or does at one point Engel just send it and hope for the best?
Here it is. Could this be the moment?
Oh,
he almost sent it. He certainly hoped. And they both get out the other side.
Just.
I tell you what, that was really, really fair play by both drivers, because Gunon didn't just chop to the apex there. He did leave a car's width.
Lello can't believe this.
By the way, Krilsey, with the pace at the front of the field, do you want to check your calculations for your 2,000 kilometres?
Almost about 300 laps, so need another 22 after that one.
It's going to be tight.
It's tight. 48 minutes to go, Rich.
We've broken records on fastest qualifying.
322 is 2,000.5 kilometres.
There you go.
322 completed laps. That was a look at that move. The door was half open, and Raffaele Marciello, who's been in this position before, knows how this feels.
Let's go back to the tyre life here, guys. Yes, it's balancing up. Eventually it will. But it's still going to be 2 hours and 20 minutes versus just over an hour and whatever it was.
65 minutes.
Yeah, 65 minutes. Now, most people will say, all right, well, obviously that gives them a grip advantage getting out the corners, but braking is also a part of this as well, isn't it, Garth?
Yeah, it is, because these cars have ABS, but the limiting factor, we call it the coefficient of grip of the car for the retardation on the brake from the tyre to the ground. So the tyre, when it loses grip, you lose braking performance as well. We saw that on the previous lap. Maro Engel, we said, is he going to send it? And he nearly did send it. So he does have braking advantage. He's much closer coming off the elbow. Lap traffic again.
Got to the right place on Conrod. Lots of room.
They'll get it done before the kink easily.
And the marked car, it's Donaldson behind the wheel there in 17th, indicates nicely, and that's the right thing to get
Closer this lap, guys. Maro's closer this lap. Laguna, it's coming this time.
The moment he starts defending,
it's down the inside, and they're going to come together. Yes, they are! And they're both off. They're both off. Now the 999 goes through. That was absolutely on the cards from the moment that he pulled out. Now, that'll be looked at from race control. New leader as they cross the line will be Maro Engel.
Teammates a week ago, remember? Teammates. They shared a car to victory at Daytona. Now they crash into each other at Bathurst.
So Engel, we'll see it on a replay, no doubt.
Yep.
But Engel jumped in behind Gunon to make it look like he wasn't going to have a lunge, and then stepped out and sent it. Here we go. So just, we need to pick it up earlier than that.
He's not there.
He's not there.
On the
send it up over the curb, and that creates contact.
I don't think that stands.
So he's a long way into the corner before contact made, Gunon. So
there's been very little of that today. Let's be honest.
I feel like that's the first one. It's this one here. Engel jinks to make it look like he's not going to pass, then sends it diagonally to the apex. We know that he has a braking advantage, a grip advantage, but is it enough to get up the inside there on that particular time?
Now, as we found out earlier in the week, race stewards, race officials will be looking at telemetry to see if that line into the corner by the leader, Jules Gunon, is the same as he's been taking every other lap. It was much closer, but is it close enough, or is that an overly optimistic lunge down the inside?
Well, that's not for us to make a decision, and a thoroughly predictable message has come up on timing here. Under investigation incident between cars 999 and 75 at turn 21, which is the chase. So
even with that incident, by the way, Mark Campbell is still 12 seconds behind the leader, but now only 5 seconds behind second place. So it's split first and second to 6.5 seconds, and then it's another 5.5 back to third here on the mountain.
The difference is that it's now only 6 seconds between Gunon and Campbell, with the Porsche with a notable tyre advantage. So the longer the race goes, it will play out better for car number 912. Under investigation. Accident, cars 999, 75, turn 21. Over to you, Craig Baird, and the Motorsport Australia stewards.
Campbell, third place. Just an interested observer at the moment of what's going on at the front of the field. leader, Maro Engel, makes his way through turn 2, up the mountain one more time. Just clocked over lap 301. So, covering some ground this afternoon. There's still plenty more of a story to be told in the remaining 44 minutes of this edition of the Bathurst 12 Hour. Maro Engel, now what you do is you put your head down and you drive.
Yeah.
You drive real fast.
Yeah.
Because it's out of your hands now. The past has, what's happened is in the past. You can't change that. It's up to the officials, as you said, Craig Bird, the driving standards advisor, and the Motorsport Australia race control.
Here we go.
Lane drive-through penalty to car 999 for a driving infringement.
Pit lane penalty, big. I was expecting a time penalty, if anything. That's what I was getting to the point. If you're Maro Engel, you put your head down and you hammer it, because if time penalty's coming your way, you try and jump in front of the time penalty before the end of the race. But a drive-through penalty changes all that.
That might even bring Sheldon van der Linden back into it. He's going to be
still be third. It'll be 32 seconds to transit the lane, and Engel's 40.3 in front.
Is that 32 seconds in the pit lane?
That's the transit time.
Right. But he loses more time than that, Quilsey, because he's not at full speed.
Yeah, he won't lose 40 seconds, I don't think.
So we thought we might see Angry Maro towards the end of this race.
We're going to see Angry Maro.
Entirely for a different reason now. I have a fair indication that the timing screens are going to light up after he serves that drive-through penalty, wherever. I wonder if they've told him yet. Let's have another look at this.
Unfortunately, probably for the 999, we've got it from every angle conceivable too. So this was the move. Late decision to pull out. I think the fact the contact was
behind the rear wheel, really, to start with.
And he's on the curb.
Yeah.
And it's late in the corner, and there's not much going for that at all, is there? If that was DRS,
it's the one here where he sort of jinks in to stay under the rear wing and then sends it hard at the apex. And he's not up there far enough in reality to get the job done. The contact front bumper to behind the rear wheel was
that was the incriminating evidence.
Yeah.
And so Jules Gounon will inevitably find himself leading this race in the final hour for the third time in as many editions of this race.
Only by 4 seconds to a charging Matty Campbell. So now, release the Campbell.
Heard that line before.
Uncork the Campbell. Yeah. So down in the pit lane, both teams watching and listening, and down in the Sun Energy 1 pit, predictably, they feel as though they're on the right side of that. So,
a bit more of a poker face from Lucas Stoltz.
Yes.
As opposed to Kenny Havel, who's making his feelings well shown. Yeah, still 40 minutes to go. 41, just under 41 minutes to go. This is Bathurst. Anything can happen in that time. So you made the point, John, that Matt Campbell now becomes the focus for Jules Gounon.
Yeah.
It's about making sure that green car does not get any bigger in the rear vision mirror.
Matt Campbell can see that car now.
He's taken 7/10 out of him on this lap to this point.
3.6 plays a 2.7.
Hello.
Campbell's uncanned.
Someone's woken Matty Campbell up.
And now he's in full chase mode in that Manthey Porsche.
Fastest lap for Matty for that car, the Manthey EMA Porsche, was a 2:02.77. Matty Campbell, 2:02.79. Chat.
Plays out, Garth. I figured I'd get a word from the Group M team, from the Manfilter team down here, actually, from Mick Grenier. You've had a chance to see the incident and the penalty that's been handed out. Your thoughts?
I mean, for me, Jules moved at the end of the braking zone, so I don't know where Maro could go because he was committed to overtaking him already. But the problem started earlier because we had to do a longer stop as the series couldn't see telemetry, so we had to change a sensor in the car, and they told us we had to do it. So we lost the lead because of that, which I think is not fair because they can still see telemetry here in the garage. To do that on the last pit stop makes no sense for me, but then Maro had to go for it, to be honest. Yeah.
So it's fair to say it hasn't worked out towards the end here for you, but do you think it's still possible after even a drive-through to pull back with maybe even a safety car?
If there's a safety car, maybe, but unless there's a safety car, I think it's done.
Appreciate the chat, mate. Sorry to hear it.
Pretty reasonably predictable response from that team. Obviously disappointed, feel like the world's turned against them with that modem issue for the car, and then contact trying to fight back from that.
Engel's got to come in next time around. Has to come in next time around. You only get 3 times by before you come in. He's got 8 seconds, but he will have to come into the pits for that penalty. Campbell, 3.5 seconds away. Black flag for the 999. Now, once a black flag comes out, you've got to come in next time by. So,
black flag starts to become serious.
Yeah.
Starting to wave that around. Just do a time check for Gounon versus Campbell. A 3.5 for Gounon, a 2.8 for Campbell. So Matty Campbell's charge continues. That gap now down to 3 seconds, just over 3 seconds. The battle for right now, what is second and third on circuit, but when Maro Engel serves that drive-through penalty, it becomes the battle for the lead. With 38 minutes left to go. There is still a sting in the tail of this one.
6 minutes since that penalty was announced by race control. So they're pushing their luck here.
Well, the team will be saying, stay out, we're arguing, but there won't be any argument with that.
Don't argue those. Once it's been done, the decision comes down. We respect the umpire's decision.
This team, for M Racing, have been in contention to win this race. I'm going to say 4 races now.
Easy 4.
Every time they come here, but they just have not been able to close the deal. And look, they're far from the only ones, because Craft Bamboo have been in exactly the same situation on more than one occasion. They came close last year. They probably would have won in 2018 had it gone green the whole way through. So they're not the only ones. And Bathurst certainly is a cruel mistress sometimes, but wow, this is just another chapter to their challenges at this joint.
What do you reckon? If he stopped and redressed there, would he have got away with that?
I'm asking the driver.
I'm asking the driver.
That's a really good point.
Because he was clean. He had clean tyres.
It's a very much a supercar rule, the redress. I don't know whether it really translates to GT racing. It's all irrelevant now because the crime's been taken now. You've got to pay the fine, effectively, come to the lane. So I don't think we want to hear the radio right now from Maro Engel, because I don't think it'll be all that complimentary.
Table of penalties, of course, we're running under the SRO regulations, so how the penalties are assessed, and that's why this is a drive-through and not a time penalty, because that is the SRO rule book.
If that happened at the end of the 1,000, it wouldn't have been a drive-through, or would it have been a time penalty, do you think? So let's say you're chasing down SVG, as it might be this year, and you do that, would you...
No, well, what you do is you redress it. In supercar, you redress it. So that takes everything out of the equation. So
I just put you on the flight for the great race this year.
Thanks,
well
nice. Love it. 2.6 seconds between first and second. Engel back out, having gone through the pit lane. He served his penalty. And he is 14 seconds further back. He's got about 18 seconds on Van der Linde. Top 4 now, within 34.5 seconds. And we've still got 35 minutes to go. 35 minutes still to go. 35 seconds between the top 4.
They dubbed Sydney's backyard, the Blue Mountains, part of the Great Dividing Range. It's a stunning place to visit when you come to New South Wales. The best thing is you get to drive through them to get to this place. Stunning scenery, lovely little towns to stop and enjoy a coffee or a food, and enjoy your trip right through this great state of New South Wales. And when you pass through the Blue Mountains, you come down Mount Victoria the other side, this is what you get. One of the most compelling places for motorsport anywhere on the planet, and once again it gives us a remarkable show. And now with one Mercedes having toured through pit lane, We've got 2.4 seconds between Jules Gounon and Matt Campbell in the battle for the win.
Matty Campbell charging hard to try and catch that Mercedes. Mathieu Jaminet, a shot at winning this race. Have you ever been this nervous?
No, I guess I'm feeling like Matt was feeling last year in Daytona, you know. It's a crazy race. We didn't really think that we had a chance looking at the pace of the Merc, and yeah, somehow, you know, they were fighting each other and they had contact. 99 got a penalty, and now, yeah, we seem to be closing in. You know, Gounon is on the double stint tires and we're on the new. So, yeah, now I just stop briefing for the next 33 minutes, and I just hope it's going to go our way.
And guys, just the little cherry on top of that, when it was reversed the other way, Mathieu was in the car getting them a watch.
Yeah, and as I remember, Shea, that wasn't necessarily the cleanest of manoeuvres through what's now called the Le Mans chicane at Daytona. I seem to remember there might have been a bit of paint traded there. Was that not correct? So, let's see what happens. Down to 2.1 seconds. And there's no doubt that Matt Campbell has been... I mean, it's almost like Manthey have been waiting for this, isn't it, God? It's bizarre. How could they know? Have they got some kind of motorsport crystal ball?
Crystal ball, because remember, go back to the last pit stop. They almost resigned themselves to the fact that they weren't going to be in the battle between the two AMG cars. So they thought, we'll put tyres on it, and if the race comes to us, we'll have a tyre advantage. Now, there's no way you could have predicted that there was going to be the drama that we saw unfold at the chase.
And yet
here we are, Matt Campbell on a fresher set of tyres, chasing down Jules Gounon. The gap now just over 2 seconds with 32 minutes left to go in this one. They're in the game. Drama at the exit of the chase.
Craft Bamboo. That's Craft Bamboo Racing, the MSI AMG.
Mobile.
Daniel Juncadella behind the wheel. He was in 6th position.
They will give this every opportunity to turn around under its own steam.
If you're Group M, they're saying that needs to be safety card right now. So there's lots of different interpretations of what needs to happen, but the car's moving.
Turn 22.2, car trying to resume.
So yeah, that's because the car is moving.
Yes,
that's exactly right. James Taylor saying.
Excellent officiating.
Yeah, well done.
Excellent officiating. And everybody knows.
James Taylor's modus operandi is let's keep it green until we absolutely have to for safety reasons. Put the race under safety car, and that's what's happened. Chad?
Just a thought, guys. Fans of Formula One will know what a free pit stop means towards the end of the race. If you get a late race safety car and you have a bit of a buffer to the car behind you, you might choose to come in and get some fresh tyres. I'm standing down at BMW and everybody just leapt into action down here, because if anyone could get a free kick out of a safety car right now, it could be the car in 4th. They've got a huge gap behind them. They could potentially take a free stop and take the restart 4th in the queue with fresh rubber.
I tell you what, Daniel Juncadella did hit the wall on driver's right quite hard. He'd hooked the curb and dropped the Pirellis, the left-hand side Pirellis, over the exit curb from the chase. And he swooshed across to the other side of the road. And that was quite a heavy hit to the right rear.
The point that Chad made there about the free pit stop is an important one, because what happens also in the last portion of this race is any lap cars get taken out of the queue. So you get a free pit stop, you get free tyres, fresh tyres, and you don't have to deal with lap traffic getting back to the cars that you're racing against. So it is genuinely a free pit stop.
And I feel okay saying this now, that car has recovered and we're not going to go yellow, because at 4 hours and 13 minutes, this is the longest green flag run in the event's history. And this has unfolded. Safety car free, 30 minutes to go, 1.7 seconds the margin, first to second.
So now we're into the longest green flag period, we can say that officially, in this event's history, proving you do not need safety cars to close up the field here. You really don't. It's 1.5 seconds between first and second. It's 14, call it 15 seconds between the top 3, and it's 35 seconds between the top 4. Only the top 4 in Pro are on the lead lap, and we've got half an hour to go.
And 3 different manufacturers inside that top 4, covered by 35 seconds. So you do not need safety cars to make it exciting.
I'm not saying that the 75 cars gone over a cliff yet, but I wonder if it's starting to teeter near it because 4.5 last time round for Gunon. Admittedly, Campbell a 203.8, and he's been in the 2s in this stint. But I wonder if that advantage just gets more and more as this race goes on. And these tyres, the Pirellis on car 75, are hanging on grimly.
Lee Holdsworth bringing the Hallmark Audi in for a splash of fuel to get them the last half an hour or so, sitting in 4th in the Pro-Am, 11th overall. Hang on a second, I'm just going to dig into the motorsport cliches draw here. Here we go. Yes, hang on. Catching is one thing, passing is another.
I wasn't sure we had anything left in the cliche draw.
Well,
We've used a few of them today.
Yeah, we have.
But I was going to bring that same point up, John, that catching this car will be one thing for Matt Campbell. Finding a sneaky way past will be another challenge altogether. We saw an epic battle between Gunon and Maro Engel. Resulted in contact.
I think it'll be a different battle as well, because
different manufacturer, different cars, different strengths and weaknesses.
If anything, the toe might be more serious. Porsche catching the AMG. The Porsche's a physically smaller car. The Merc punches a pretty big hole in the air.
Danny Juncadella brought the 77 Craft Bamboo car back to the lane and the team go to work on what is a very expensive race car with what is, all matter of fact, duct tape.
Yeah, it's big bits of it.
3.8 for Gunon, so it shows what I know. This drives right down into the 3s once again.
You've been pretty good with the commentator curse today, Rich.
Not for the first year, Garth.
Not going to ride off Gilles Gunon at all.
No, never.
The gap down, hovering around the 1.2, 1.3 seconds, first to second.
Here's the thing, though. Where does the Porsche have an advantage? It does everything well, Garth, as you've been making the point. Is there a point? Is it going to come down to that tyre advantage that will make the opportunity for Matt Campbell when he gets there? And he's going to get there. He is going to get there.
Yeah, there will be a moment in the remaining 27 minutes where those two go head-to-head, but we haven't really seen the Porsche really go head-to-head with an advantage in speed over the Mercedes. We've seen it the other way around, in the early part of the race when the Mercs had a speed advantage over the Porsche. But the shoe's on the other foot now. What can Matt Campbell do to elevate this car from second to first? Fascinating battle as this one comes to a climax.
A Porsche is chasing down a big front-engine GT car at Mount Panorama. I feel like we've told this story before somewhere. History has been good to Matt Campbell at this place. Can it repeat? In 2019, with a series of remarkable passes, he charged the Porsche 911 GT3 for Elbamba Motorsports from 4th to 1st with a late race pass on Jake Dennison and Aston Martin to win Porsche's first major endurance race at Mount Panorama. This time, to wrestle the race lead away, he's got to pass the guy that's not only won it once, but has won it twice and has claimed the last 2 editions of this race.
Shooting for 3 in a row is Gilles Gunon.
Yeah, for in the motivation stakes for Gilles Gunon, it doesn't get much bigger. So, a little piece of Bathurst history on the edge for him.
Just check the top speeds as they made their way down Conrod Straight on the previous lap. And the gap was out at 1.3 seconds at that point, so the slipstream just starting to work. And the Porsche was 3k an hour faster than the Mercedes on the previous lap, top speed. So, as Matt Campbell continues to close this gap down, the slipstream effect will become more and more powerful. And the speed differential will get greater and greater.
2 great stories at the front of this field. In fact, all of them have got great stories, but particularly these 2 battling for the lead, and they are hanging it out as they head up to the top of the mountain. Obviously, it would be back-to-back victories for the Sun Energy 1 car, and as you guys said, in very different company to that they won here last year, 9 months ago. Matt Campbell back in a GT car for Porsche on this type of car's final run, we presume, at the Mount, expecting 992. And let's just remember that Matt Campbell knows how to do this. 2019 front-engined sports car at the elbow, and it was elbows out for Matt Campbell as he put it down the inside. There was just about a 9.11's width. It was probably a 9.10.5's width, actually, there. And he went through and eased his way through into the lead on driver's left.
The model designation for that car then was 911.1, wasn't it? That's exactly how much room there was to get into that hole. Because I remember watching that live, and that was seriously cool. I think we've seen lots of passing manoeuvres at Forest Elbow. That's the best one we've seen down there.
Yeah, that's the definition of full send when you look it up on Google these days. 0.7, but we don't need to tell you margins anymore because Campbell's there. Interesting, starting to pick up a toe because last time round was 7 k's an hour quicker down Conrod Straight, according to the speed track, just before the entry to the chase.
The amount of Pirelli rubber that is laid down around the traction areas of this circuit. So coming up to visit newsouthwales.com corner, that's Griffin's Bend, and other parts of the track. This track is properly rubbered in. From Limited Running, who's on the Twitter, yes, but isn't Matt Campbell a professor at the Finding a Way Past University? I think we saw his thesis just there, didn't we? His PhD from 2019 on the flashback.
Just want to give a little Maro Engel update for those of you. He was a second faster than these two cars on the previous lap and only 11 seconds behind right now with 22 minutes left to go. If these two engage and we start losing lap time, there'll be a third car to the party shortly. And Maro Engel will not need any extra motivation to get back to the front of this field, should it play out that way.
It's almost 4 hours and 20 minutes into this stint, and this is what this place has delivered. And we're always pretty confident that with the depth of this pro field that we would get a really good motor race. The question mark was probably those safety car interventions and when they would fall, given the 24 starters that we had, which is probably 6 to 10 short of where the optimum would be for a field at this place to balance between green flag running and to get those safety cars. But a pure classic old school strategy endurance race, no compulsory pit stops, just strategy, smart race teams, fast race car drivers, great brands and great racing car teams going at it, and it ends up with 21 minutes and 45 seconds to go, 4.5 hours of green flag running, and this is anybody's race.
Yeah, and we're a lap and a half away from a distance record, by the way. Can we just throw that in? And with 21 minutes to go, we are going to be very, very close indeed to 2,000 kilometres. Richard Creel is pursing his lips with sheer pleasure.
There's not much left of the seat for Rich to be sitting on the edge of right now.
And I take up a lot of it. There's so they did the first 1,000 Ks in 6 hours and 8 minutes. So that'd make a second 1,000 Ks in, math isn't really good, what, 5 hours, 52 minutes, which is fair going.
It needed to be 27 laps an hour, give or take. And they've easily been doing 28.1 or 2 when they've been in green, and this long green session has allowed that to come back. Just been keeping an eye on that, but at the moment, that's all in the future. What's here and now is a gap that's just squeaked out to about 8-9 tenths of a second now. Is Campbell resting his tyres here? Is he just planning and scheming something else? What have Manti and Matt Campbell got up their sleeve? Because they've not given this up. They have not given this up at all, and neither is Jules Gounon. Every time he comes to traffic, he is flashing his lights like a madman to make sure no one slows him down by even half a kilometre an hour. The race to the checkered flag is on at the mountain. Just under 20 minutes to go in 2023's Liqui Moly Bathurst 12 hours. The rush to the checkered flag is on, and it's heating up, and it's a 3-car battle. 2 can see each other. The third car, Marlo Engel, the 999 that took that late race drive through for the contact with Jules Gounon, is only 8.9 seconds behind, and he is coming like a train at the moment. He's on the same part of Mountain Straight. This is not all over, and Maro Engel is fired up like a volcano.
Took 7/10 of a second out of Gounon and Campbell on that previous lap. So the gap to the lead for this car right now is 9.8 seconds. It felt like just a lap ago it was 11.
Yeah.
So continuing to mount this fight back is Maro Engel. Be some sort of fight back just to get to the tailpipe of Matt Campbell, let alone get involved in a battle for the win. And I think Matt Campbell's just got to that 0.8 of a second, 1 second gap behind Jules Gounon, where he's in the dirty air. And he might not have what he needs just to get through up to half a second, 0.3 of a second to really take advantage of the slipstream coming off Forest Elbow for the run down Conrod Straight.
So I predict that we will have 3 cars battling for the last couple of 3 laps, which could mean Sheldon van der Linde gets through and wins if they all end up outside Bridges.
Cool.
Let's head down to Chad.
How good is this? Building to the crescendo we all want to see. The expected lap counter at this point, guys, with the run rate being so high now and them smashing 6s out of the park for the last 4 hours, doing such quick lap times, we're expecting now to get to 321, now 322 laps in the race. Now, when we started crunching all those fuel numbers about an hour ago, the predicted was about 316 to 17. So here's a question. Was anyone up and down pit lane predicting this race to go quite so fast and quite so many laps towards the end? Do you reckon they absolutely filled up those tanks when they were trying to beat each other off pit road? Because at the moment, they're going to have to do over 30 laps to get it home.
Yeah, that's a very good point. 23 laps on this stint for Gounon, 24 for Matt Campbell. Engel's lap count is from his drive-through.
I'd ask another question to you, Chad. Do you think they'll tell you if you ask? The answer's no.
Sheer Adam Upshewitt is already there.
Some lap traffic. Oh, it does the right job. Yeah. Jumps out of the way. Our leaders negotiate their way up to the top of the mountain again.
3 last time round for Gounon. Plays a 3.5 for Campbell.
2.7 for Maro Engel. Continues to be the fastest car on track by some margin.
8.8 seconds.
He said, beware angry Maro. We're seeing exactly why right now.
Remember, the finish time is 17:43 plus the 1 lap. 17:43 local time, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. Counting down. And there's 1.3 seconds between these two. This has been a really good lap for the Sun Energy One Racing Mercedes AMG. All of a sudden just edging away and negating any sort of toe that Matt Campbell's going to get from Gounon. And meanwhile, Maro Engel already on this lap is about 3.5 tenths quicker than the 2 leaders.
I do think he's going to get there. I think he'd get somewhere close, but I can't believe that we would have even more drama and he would be challenging for second or even for the lead. It's not beyond the bounds of possibility, as Garth Tander said, if the 2 leaders do start getting together and slowing each other down.
Well, there's 315 laps, so a new distance record already for this race. 1,956 kilometres complete today. So already another record set in a record-setting weekend. Remember, over 53,000 people here over the 3 days. Comfortably a record crowd for the LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12-hour.
Fastest qualifying time, record crowd, and a distance record. Can we now absolutely say officially that Bathurst is back? Like it's never been away. Missed 1 year, ran last year, and I do really think, and I watched it all last year with you guys calling it, I really do think that that was super important that that race ran last year. because that laid the groundwork again for this work this year. And GT, by the way, your pace this year has been outstanding because you have got a voice left at this point.
That's right.
So
I was wondering when that was little.
You've been ribbing him for his,
thank you. It's taken 11 hours and 45 minutes for you to bring it up.
No, it's, you know, credit where it's due.
I went home and I looked at the data and I worked on my strategy. Come back stronger for the second year. This one, it's not done. There's another twist in the tail with 14 minutes left to go.
2:02.3 for the leader, 2:02.7 for second, 2:02.3 for third, 2:02.8 for Sheldon von der Linde. He's still about half a minute back, 40 seconds from the leader. He's keeping an eye on some other bits and pieces as well. Chaz Mostert is catching a wounded Daniel Juncadella in the 77 car. That would be a battle for overall position, but not class, as Mostert continues to lead in the Pro-Am ahead of the 777. Ricky Feller behind the wheel of that car, and third, about a lap back, Richie Stanaway, turning the final laps for the Boost Mobile AMG number 99.
Identical lap times to the 10th, almost to the 100th for the 2 litres that time. 2:03.57 plays a 5:8.30 for Engel. So another half a second comes out of that leading margin as these two duel for supremacy. 316 laps now. 1.3 the official margin.
This gap continues to ebb and flow. Campbell quicker across the top of the mountain. Gunon very strong in the final sector. So it's only going to take one lap car at the wrong part of the circuit for either of these competitors to determine what step of the podium they're going to stand on, I feel like. It's only going to be something small.
If these Pirellis get the 75 home and Kenny doesn't mount them somewhere prominent outside his property on Conrod Straight, there's something wrong with the world, because these tyres, double stinting to the end, have been remarkable in the hands of Jules Gunon.
They need to go into the temperature-controlled artefact storage that Bathurst Regional Council have just put together recently for their museums, because they've had a hard life and they need a decent retirement. That would be absolutely incredible.
Just put them in the wine cellar and just go and cuddle them every now and then. 12 minutes. And this guy, 28 years of age, from France. He's won all the majors in GT racing, of course, with the Bentley team, and then switched across to Mercedes AMG when Bentley unfortunately ended their GT3 program. He's been here on 4 occasions previously, made his debut in 2018 and won this race, of course, in 2020 with Bentley, with that masterful stint towards the end and the cool head when the rear tyre delaminated on the run down Conrod Straight, and just managed to maintain that situation, get the car into the lane and back out in front. 7.4 seconds back to Maro Engel. He's still in the twos.
Another big lap from
second
Maro.
quicker.
That means he's only 6.2 seconds away from Matt Campbell at the moment. He is really coming even quicker than I thought. We're going to 10 minutes, 11 minutes to go. Is he going to get there?
6.2 seconds to the rear bumper of Matt Campbell, 7.4 seconds to the lead of the race, Maro Engel.
So that's what he has in front of him. That's the job at hand.
Chad said earlier on who was brave with the fueling and maybe short fuel for track position. Matt Campbell now on 27 laps. That Porsche has been frugal all day, but are we seeing a bit of fuel saving here? It might be nice to have a look on board and hear what's going on.
Well, Engel came on the same lap as well, remember?
Correct.
Maro Engel and Matt Campbell came. Jules Gunon came a lap later. So whether they actually fully fueled Gunon's car, remember they didn't take tyres, they went for track position, whether they put enough fuel in it to get it to the end. Chad?
I reckon that one guy in this fight who's definitely good on fuel will probably be Maro, because they're spending that time changing out the computer componentry. So for them, the fuel question wasn't so much an issue. It was definitely fill it up. But the other two, I'm so intrigued to know how much is left in the tank. Some nervous faces down here at Sun Energy.
Maro's hauling a second a lap out of these two. Yeah, he's already 7 tenths up at the second timing intermediate. And after a couple of quiet laps. Campbell just creeping back a little bit closer to the rear wing of car 75.
Potentially just resting the tyre a little, which you can do. Obviously had the big push to get to the rear wing of Gilles Gounon. Then just rest the tyre and have another push. 9 minutes, 35 seconds left to go in this one. And you want to get up to the rear wing of Gounon and have a crack before Engel potentially gets there.
Totally.
Yeah, you want a full focus on the car in front and not have to worry about Maro Engel attacking you. And if that happens later in the race, deal with it then.
They're all on mountain straight at the same time. I just wonder if Matt Campbell's had the call that his fuel numbers are okay and he's been uncanned and allowed to fire away.
I can't speak for the teams, but honestly, with 9 minutes to go, I think you're going to find out one way or another.
There you go.
Yeah, you're going to run the thing out of juice or you're going to win Bathurst. Simple as that.
Yeah. As the Americans say in baseball, you're not going to die looking, are you? You're going to have a swing.
No one was blinking in the match. They were looking there just previously.
That was actually the world's
screen.
That was actually the world staring competition that was going on down there.
Matt using all the curb there on the run through McPhillamy Park. Yeah, both of these cars bottoming out now. It's been especially noticeable from the AMG products across the course of the weekend. Can run these cars quite low. But fuel load's burning off now. 8 minutes and 15, 318 laps completed. So they're on their 319th now. Utterly tension-filled battle. 28-year-old Gilles Gounon, 27-year-old Matt Campbell from Warwick in Queensland. Australians have followed his journey to become a factory Porsche driver. It's been a remarkable tale, and this place played a significant role in crafting it. And Gilles Gounon has become extremely well known to Australian audiences by his exploits here. And what about Kenny Habul? Could he go back to back?
Gap to lead, Maro Engel, 5.4 seconds. Time left in the race, 7 minutes and 20 seconds.
I love the fact that we're seeing these cars race on their own terms, not being interrupted by big packs of cars that they've got to get by. Proper motor racing here. Endurance racing at its very finest. And I'll say it now before the end of the race, whatever happens now, Bathurst, once again, has delivered, Crazy.
Certainly has on Matt Campbell, carrying speed into the cutting.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of moments here on the previous lap. Matt was out to the wall. There you go again. Here on the previous lap, there was no room left to the wall. Matt Campbell will not die wondering in the remaining 6 minutes of this one.
When you know you're going to get the absolute maximum from both of them, they'll leave nothing on the table for this. And the philosophy from both teams will be win the race.
Yeah.
Full stop. Nothing else really matters.
Tell me, well, we know who finished second last year. It was Maro Engel.
Yeah.
Other than that, can you tell me who finished second previously in the 12-hour?
Negative. Has to run up Reed Park.
I reckon that happened 3 times on the previous lap. Like, he is giving it to that Porsche. Maro Engel again to the end of the second sector has taken 8/10 out of Matt Campbell. Gap to lead for Maro Engel now, 4.5 seconds.
Dear race control, please can we have another 20 minutes? And signed, everybody.
We've talked about the way that Sun Energy One have interpreted the rule book and quite correctly found the loophole.
Yeah.
The 31 laps that Kenny Habul did earlier today have been critical to that because it's given them just the flexibility on their driver time at the end to allow for this to occur for Gilles Gounon to be in the car. Have a look at the leading 3 now. Maro Engel, 4.2 seconds, punches out a 2:02.42 last time round.
Took 1.1 out of Matt Campbell. Maro Engel set his personal best final sector on that lap.
For the whole race, for that car, unbelievable.
320 laps complete now.
5 minutes to go. The gap continues to close. 9/10 of a second, first to second.
I'll definitely get 2 laps, probably 3.
2 laps will do it. 2 laps will do it, Krillsy. You've had everything you've asked for this weekend. Do you want to ask for anything else? Lotto numbers?
Greedy.
You know.
Would you like to know the lotto number for Tuesday night?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
the wall! He's been teasing us for the last 2 laps, and that was a reasonable contact. At the exit of the shelf, coming on for the drop down to Reed Park.
Will there be a price to pay for that? Is that a step too far, or in this case, too close for Matt Campbell?
You don't have to worry about track limits here and the calls because there's no room for mistakes. It was a brush with the front wheel on the left-hand side of the Manthey car.
It's the way the car bounced up the curb, and then just bounced up and stepped to the left into the wall for Matt Campbell. I'm going to do a quick check right now, making sure the steering wheel is straight, making sure there's no vibration coming back through the steering wheel.
He lost half a
wheels.
Half a tenth. Well, he lost half a second actually in that sector when he'd been gaining. Interesting.
So just over 3 minutes and 40 seconds left of this one as we come to complete yet another lap. And there we are, the top 3 cars in the same shot with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to run. I think Engel's going to get to the rear bumper, but he might not have a chance.
I thought he would. I said it a while ago. Can he get it through? Very quickly, let's run through the other classes. We'll keep our eyes on what's going on as they head up Mountain Straight. In Pro-Am, it's still the number 65 that leads. That's the Sport Bet Audi. Jazz Monster ahead. And he has actually gone past Daniel Juncadella and taken 7th position in the overalls. Ricardo Ricky Fella in the 777 sits in 2nd. That's the Ben, the Shaheen car in the Pro-Am Cup in 2nd, and 3rd Richie Stanaway is anchoring the 99 Boost Mobile AMG. In silver, Josh Hunt is leading for the 101 car. They've had their trials and tribulations today as well, haven't they? In 2nd place in the Silver Cup, Glenn Wood for the number 47 Audi, and the Jonathan Webb-driven 47 Audi. So Glenn Wood in the 50 Audi, which was, of course, the number 50 KTM. What a story that is. They're going to be 2nd. Jonathan Webb 3rd in the 47 Audi. And the Mark 1 Mazda in 17th position, still running. Darren Curry will beat that home in the Invitational class.
Just under 2 minutes left to go in the 2023 edition of the Bathurst 12-hour. Brought to you by Liqui Moly. The top 3 cars in the same shot as they make their way down into the chase. There's a car off in front. It's not one of the leaders.
It's the Makita car, Jordan Love in 11th position.
He rejoins right in front of the lead battle, needs to stay out of the way. It's going to be worse for Campbell, I think, because he's got a compromised entry to the final corner.
Right. So what have we got lap time-wise? A 3.8 for Gounon, a 4 dead for Campbell, a 3.2 for Maro Engel. The gaps continue to close. Jordan Love jumps out of the way.
It is 43 minutes past the hour.
It's 6.213, times 322 by my maths, is 2,000.58 kilometres. Woohoo! 2,000 Ks in a day.
In half a day, 12 hours.
And here's another list for you, gents. This is a list of names that have won 3 consecutive endurance races, major enduros at this place, in a row. Brock, Richards, Perkins, Lowndes, Whincup. That's it in the long history of this place. Jules Gounon is on the edge of doing that.
Last lap, I thought it just clicked over. So it will be 3:23 laps and no further. His time is about to elapse, but it's a 43 plus 1. This is unbelievable, and I'm not writing off Maro Engel yet. There's 2 seconds between the top 3 after
right there.
A record-breaking distance. And with the least intervention from safety cars, this is real racing. This is real pace. This is real drama. It's Mount Panorama Bathurst. Why do we expect anything different?
Does Maro Engel send it at the chase on the last lap?
100%. 100% he does.
The gap is 0.6 of a second as they make their way down. Conrod straight for the last time. He's a fair way back. We said he'd get to the rear bumper, but he might run out of time, and time has been his enemy.
The fastest race in Bathurst history creates a little bit more. Kenny's engineered another triumph. Lucas Stolz goes back-to-back. Jules Gounon, 3 in a row at Mount Panorama. They've done it again. The top 3 cars are covered by 1.4 seconds. After 323 laps, 2,006 kilometres of racing, 1.4 seconds. That is how you go motor racing.
And how long green at the end there, Krilsey? Oh,
I stopped counting. It was over 4.5 hours.
Oh, my goodness. Let's get some atmosphere from down in the lane. Shay Adam.
Kenny Habul and Lucas Stolz embracing on the wall and crying. Kenny, you've done it again. This time it was a lot harder than last year. Does that make it even sweeter?
It's unbelievable. You know what? Luca and Jules just drove the balls off this car, and I'm just so proud of them. I said something last year on TV. They told me not to say it, but you know what I'm thinking. And thanks to Mercedes AMG and thanks to the town of Bathurst, this is the greatest. And I wanted to win outright. And yeah, I drove really well. I was proud of myself, and it was tough because I had old tyres from Luca when I got in. And I'm just really proud of everyone, proud of the team. Thank you.
What are you going to do with the tires that come off that car? Because they deserve something special.
Well, first I'm going to run around the track naked. And then after that, I'm going to drink a lot tonight.
Congrats, Kenny.
So Mercedes tie Audi with 3 12-hour victories in the GT3 era. Absolutely extraordinary. And Porsche come up short by just under a second to say goodbye to the 991.2 with a victory. Let's salute our other winners as well. That 65 car has come through. The Sportbet Audi to take the Pro-Am category, and in the silver category, the number 101. Well, that's a great run for them after problems earlier on. The Volante Rossi Motorsport Silver Cup winner comes through.
Look at the emotion. Look at what it means to Jules Gounon. I mean, 5 years ago, he'd never been to this place, and now he's won it 3 times in a row. Chad?
Oh my gosh, the emotion from this guy. He just got up on the roof and screamed something guttural and primal from Jules Gounon down here in Victory Lane. This is becoming our annual catch-up. Congratulations, but you had to work for that one like never before.
Yeah, I'm dead. First of all, I think I want to say sorry to Maro for the contact. Last week we won an amazing race, and this week we had to fight, but for Bathurst.
Well, you can say it in person.
Ah gros, ça doit jamais tu dois drive through. Je suis désolé gros. C'est toi qui dois les gagner. T'es en train de m'excuser.
Well done from Maro. How about sportsmanship? To be able to walk up to you in that scenario, he must be heartbroken too. And Matty's here as well, mate.
Well done, bro.
That is respect between the top 3 right there. You guys are teammates one week and then warring the next, huh?
Yeah, that's what I said. It's gonna be hard, but to win Bathurst, I'm sorry, I'm really dead.
Yeah.
The last stint with all tires, having to defend and seeing great drivers like Maro.
I'll try and get a word off Luca in here as well, because they've just become a 2-time winner. Luca, helping him out. We haven't heard from you yet. We heard from the team boss. How are you feeling right now? How about this absolute superstar next to you?
Insane. The last hour was, really hard in the pit with everybody. But yeah, it was just outstanding job by Jules. Team did so good, didn't change tires, full risk. Yeah, but we made it. Triple Bathurst victory and double for me.
No wonder you're so tired, because 2 drivers here that had to do the most lifting out of anybody, because a bronze driver with Kenny doing so little laps. So technically, physically, he must be absolutely spent.
Yeah, we are destroyed, but Kenny did a great job this morning. And for the little story, The daughter of my engineer, Carlo, drew me that little unicorn on my suit. She did it in my seat in Spa, and we won Spa, and today we won also. I'm out of words. It's amazing. Thanks to Akodis, Kenny, and everyone at Mercedes-AMG, my teammate Luca, and fantastic.
And the strategists as well, because nobody pitted more during this race as well. So that was something out of nowhere. You guys looked very nervous, thought that you needed a safety car at one point to even be in with a shot to win this one, Luca.
Yeah, but we made it back. At some stage we were a little bit close with driving time, but yeah, then just an outstanding job by the Akodis guys, and yeah, it played well.
2-time, 3-time, and a hat trick. You guys did the impossible today. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Extraordinary, extraordinary scenes, and the 20th 12-hour endurance race at Mount Panorama is one we will remember forever. That's the reaction, 29 years of age. Jules Gounon, one of the best GT drivers in the world, and Bathurst, globally renowned as one of the greatest racetracks. That's how special this race is. The world returned to the mountain this year, and it has delivered in spades.
And it's paid the world back, no doubt. Unofficial results then, subject to post-race checks, etc. But Sun Energy won, go back-to-back ahead of Manthey in second, and a fast recovering Mercedes-AMG team Group M. I wonder if he took that penalty a couple of laps earlier, it might have been even closer. There, Team WRT, the best of the BMWs, was the number 32, and in the classes, 7th overall for the 65 car that wins in the Pro-Am Cup for the Sport Bet team. And the silver clap, Dylan O'Keefe, I have to apologise to the Milan team. They've been leading so far through the race. They got up into the GT3s, and I missed them out of our rundown. They finished 12th overall, podium, with the Mazda winning the Invitational.
53,000 people attended this year's event. There's the celebration. Kenny's finally made it down. The party's at his joint on Conrod Straight tonight. And for the second year in a row, Sun Energy One Racing claim the LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12-hour. Spares box highlights. What a day it's been. What a weekend it's been. A record-breaking one in many respects. And at 5:45 a.m. we flagged the cars away 12 hours ago into a beautiful morning, crisp, cool conditions, and there was drama early. That was Christopher Haase in the Audi after just 13 laps, unlucky for him, into the fence. Chaz Mostert somehow was a lap down, then 2 laps down, kept that Audi in the mix throughout the day. That was an error for Tony Bates. This was a big crash for Stephen Grove at the top at Brock Skyline and ended the Grove Racing team's day. The Lamborghini had looked strong throughout. They had their best ever finish here last year. Unfortunately, they were unable to replicate that, and after just 70 laps, they were also one of the non-finishers. One of the biggest accidents of the day, the Superbarn car involved young Aaron Cameron with a large rearward impact into the spares box dipper. And they were in really good contention in the top 10 in the silver class. And then charity car, we just had Lownsy in the box talking up how well they were going. And unfortunately, Scotty Taylor found the fence similar to the accident before, and that ended their day. Then high drama with a modem in the car that sends telemetry back to base and to race control failing and not communicating. They had to change it. It cost them time. And then this, an enormous moment as Maro Engel got up the inside of Jules Gounon. There was contact and there was a drive-through penalty for car 999 that basically ended their chances. That handed the lead then to Jules Gounon. A late spin caused some hesitation. Would there be a safety car? Matt Campbell drove the wheels off the EMA Manthey Porsche. He brushed the fence in his pursuit of Jules Gounon. He got within a second at the line. It'll be the closest racing finish in the race history as well, by the way. And at the end, 1.4 seconds covers 3 cars in the fastest, longest Bathurst 12-hour in the race's history.
Fastest, longest, yeah, like that. Most people here.
Yeah.
Fastest qualifying, and the first winner who's won twice for 2 different nations.
Yeah, yes, correct as well.
Add that to the list.
And Jules Gounon in the annals of history at this place. Only 5 drivers ever won the Bathurst 1000 3 times in a row. No one's done it in 12-hour history until Jules Gounon has now. But those names, Peter Brock, Jim Richards, Larry Perkins, Craig Lowndes and Jamie Whincup. And it is extraordinary that a young Frenchman who a decade ago, 5 years ago, was unknown in these parts, has now won 3 straight races and is an extraordinary driver.
You have to be more greedy more often, because everything you asked for, you got this weekend. Birthdays, Christmases, New Year's, Easter eggs, all came together for one Mr. Richard.
The rest of the year is going to be terrible. I've used up everything today. Mercedes AMG win their 3rd race, so they equal Audi, the most wins of all time, equal at the top. They're 2 great German GT racing brands in the GT3 era.
Mazda are only one further ahead with 4 in the event's history overall. So.
Well, at Bathurst, it's only 3 because they won the 12-hour at Eastern Creek. This is going to be a great podium. Can't wait to celebrate this. Here's Mark Beretta.
The 2023 LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12-hour outright winners podium. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please congratulate in 3rd place for car 999, Grouper M Racing, Mauro Engel, Mikhail Grenier and Rafael Marciello. Presenting the 3rd place trophy, Senator Ross Cadell. Also presenting the medals for the Intercontinental GT Challenge powered by Pirelli, Series Manager Abby Hay. In 2nd place, car number 912, Matt the EMA, Matt Campbell, Matteo Gimene and Thomas Prini. Presenting the 2nd place trophies, Bathurst Mayor Robert Taylor. Also presenting the medals for the Intercontinental GT Challenge powered by Pirelli, Series Manager Abby Hay. Time now to present our winning team, who have done a sensational job in a great finish to the 2023 LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12-hour race. Would you please congratulate car number 75, Sun Energy 1, Kenny Harble, Jules Gounon and Lucas Stoltz. Presenting the Motorsport Australia Tourist Trophy, Pirelli Circuit Racing Manager, Matteo Braga. Presenting the 1st place trophies, LIQUI MOLY General Global Marketing Director, Peter Bowman. And presenting the medals for the Intercontinental GT Challenge powered by Pirelli, Series Manager Abby Hay. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2023 LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12-hour outright winners. Time to celebrate.
Oh my goodness, what a day it has been here at Mount Panorama, Garth Tander. The fun continues because it's only the start of the Aussie Motor Racing calendar.
What a great way to open the Australian Motor Racing calendar, Chad. The Bathurst 12-hour, the top 3 cars covered by 1.4 seconds after 12 hours of racing. Can't wait to go to Newcastle shortly. Well, that's how we started in Australian motorsport. It's going to be an awesome year.
Yeah, you do not want to miss that. March is only around the corner. Brand new race cars. But here in Bathurst, the champagne is spraying. An incredible race. It was flat out from start to finish. One of the fastest races we've ever seen here at Mount Panorama. And they've earned those celebrations right now. Congratulations to Sun Energy One and Mercedes. What a way to finish the day at Bathurst.
The world is back. The LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12-hour fires into life on a stunning Sunday morning at Mount Panorama.
That is motor racing as art.
One in the wall.
He's got an oxygen problem, so you want to fix that on the plane. Again. Yeah, strict upbringing. Thanks, mate. Not finished from yet, sunshine. Okay, let's continue on now with our class podiums here at the LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12 Hour. We'll start with our Class A Bossell Watches Pro-Am podium, and a big effort today. Our third place, Boost Mobile Racing. It is Jamie Wincup, Richie Stanaway, and Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim. With our trophies for second, it's the Bathurst Mayor, Robert Taylor. Now let's move forward to our winning team in Bossell Watches Pro-Am, which is today from Melbourne Performance Centre, representing the Sportsbet Audi team. It's Chaz Mostert, Fraser Ross, Liam Talbot. And it's not just about the special trophy, but also the Bossell Watches. Beautiful prize to be won today. Let's welcome out the CEO of Bossell Watches, Aaron Coote. And with our winning trophies today, from the LIQUI MOLY Global Marketing Director, it's Peter Baumann. Ladies and gentlemen, there is your 2023 LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12-Hour Class A Bossell Watches Pro-Am Podium. You know what comes next. Let's celebrate.
Awesome, thank you. Can I get the three of you just to
Can the grog.
Okay, let's push on now to our Class A silver podium. And this really is some story. They entered this weekend in the Invitational class. They end up getting a podium in Class A. Let's welcome our M Motorsport, Vantage Racing, Trent Harrison, Glenn Wood, David Crampton. Incredible effort. This goes to show you never, ever give up. And with our third place trophies, let's welcome out Senator Ross Cadell. Moving on to our runner-up today in silver class, it's Car 101, the Harold's Volante Rosso Motorsport entry of Ross Palakis, Josh Hunt, Kevin C. and Jonathan Hui. With the second place trophies, here's Bathurst Mayor Robert Taylor. This team has also wrapped up today's Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli Independent Cup. So here comes Series Manager Abby Hay with the winning medals. And let's bring out our silver class winners today. Your winning team in the Milan Audi. Let's go with Daniel Gaunt, Dylan O'Keefe and Andrew Fawcett. With our first place trophy, it's the LIQUI MOLY Global Marketing Director, Peter Baumann. Ladies and gentlemen, there is your 2023 LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12-hour Class A silver podium. Let's celebrate here at the mountain.
kidding. Best till last, right, boys? Saving the best till last.
Okay, our final podium of the day is for Class I, the Invitational Podium. And we only had, in a true test of endurance, one car make it home. So from 111 Racing MRA Motorsport, let's bring out Darren Curry, Axel Donaldson, and Jeff Taunton. Peter Baumann, the LIQUI MOLY Global Marketing Director, has our winning trophies. Well done to our Class I winners. Time to spray some champagne here. The final podium at the 2023 LIQUI MOLY Bathurst 12-hour.